Good morning, Daybreak watchers. We're going to get going in about 30 seconds here.
11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the Tom Hartman program. Tag You're It.
This is Jeff Santos. From corporate greed to government corruption, social justice to economic inequality, we tell it like it is. No fluff.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
This is where Wisconsin wakes up. It's Daybreak with Brian Noonan and Jamie Martinson. Here are your hosts, Brian and Jamie.
6:06 right now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. This is the Civic Media Network. A beautiful day in store, upper 60s to upper 70s across the state, depending on where you're at. And this is the most important part for me, especially high pollen count.
Oh, very good. So you'll be stuffy and wheezing throughout the program.
I'm so hopped up on allergy medicine right now. You have no idea.
Right. We get stoned, Jamie, this week.
That's right. That's
Well,
right.
good morning. I'm Brian Noonan. It is another week of fun and frivolity and all the horrors that go with being an American this week. But we're glad you're here. Glad you can join us. If you want to jump in, 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. I know Frank has let us know. Good morning. Frank is here. He's our executive producer. Parker, our technical producer, is here. Morning, gentlemen. Before we get to Frank is very upset about something, Jamie. He has a bee in his bonnet.
I hear this.
Yeah, but you had an encounter with waterfowl?
This is such a great story. I'll make it very quick because I want to hear what's bothering Frank.
Frank's very upset.
In our front yard, we have an older cedar bush. Now, we lease our home, so there's not much I can do with the cedar bush. I just try to trim it up. And it's not small yards in our neighborhood, so it's not far from the road. So a couple of weeks ago, Aspen and I were taking a walk, and we went around the front of our house from the back door, and she attacked this bush. Now, this is not unusual for her. She is an investigative grass reporter. She is a mouse hunter. She loves her squirrels. She loves it all. And there's bunnies who sometimes, dwell in this bush. So I didn't think much about it until I heard a bunch of squawking and I heard these feathers. Turns out it's a duck, right?
Oh, nice.
A duck. And we have several in our neighborhood because we have little ponds. Sometimes they're on top of houses. I've seen ducks on power lines. Still don't understand the science behind that. I haven't figured it out though yet. At any rate, there's this duck and I'm like, oh, well, she's just taking cover there for a minute. Turns out that this is a mama mallard who has 7 eggs and a nest in our bush.
In the bush.
So I am so excited about this because she is always there. You can barely see her because of how she's built this nest. But I am so excited for the day that 7 little fuzzy heads come popping out of the bush. I'm very, very excited. Now, I don't think it would surprise anybody who listens to this program to know that I am preparing myself for this moment. I'm taking up duck midwife skills.
Yeah.
I am getting everything prepared for this. And Corey looked at me the other day, my husband, and he goes, the ducks are just going to hatch and they're going to go away and fly away because that's what ducks do. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to be
like
prepared.
the first episode of The Sopranos, where the ducks leave.
Listen,
I'm surprised you're not documenting this whole journey on social media.
I should be. I probably should
Yeah,
be. But
you
should.
I'm very, very excited. I can't wait for the 7
cool.
little fuzzy heads to come out of the nest. I'm very excited.
We had, in our old house, we had 2 ducks, a male and female. I don't know what, but they were like an old couple, and they always traveled together. They were always in our backyard. It was you never saw one by themselves. They were always waddling about, and it was like, oh, there they are. So, this will be exciting. Keep us posted.
I will.
As, I don't know the gestation period of ducks.
And I don't know how long she'd actually been there before Aspen, sniffed her out of the bush.
Yeah,
so
keep
I don't
that dog
know.
away from that bush.
I am. And I basically set up a little gate around it because we have a very dog-friendly neighborhood. So I did actually put up like a little fence around it. And I have a little sign on that says, Mama Duck in Bush. So because I don't want any of the puppies in the neighborhood to disrupt the mama.
Well, now, see, you and I like this story very much. there might be some people who don't like this story, which I think leads us to Frank's
boy.
grudge.
All right.
Or anger. You
Frank
look
looks
frustrated
disgruntled.
this morning,
Yeah.
and it's only
I
10
am-
after 6.
I am very sick, for the
Oh,
record.
I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
I really looked at the run. I would have taken a sick day, but I put myself on 3 segments in today's show.
You did.
I did, which was stupid of me. However,
And we have an interview later after the show.
we do. So it's
Well,
like
we're
Michael
so
Jordan's
sorry.
flu game. It's okay.
We'll try to make it easy on you today.
No, it's good. So I'm even more disgruntled. So this weekend I realized something.
Uh-huh.
And when I wrote this prompt, I was wanted to rant about one thing. And then I found something even worse.
Oh, my.
So my question to everybody is, what's that one thing everybody seems to enjoy that you just can't stand? Because mine
Wow.
going into today was the Kentucky Derby.
Why can't? What do you got against the Kentucky
I thought
Derby?
you'd
It's
love
the
the Derby.
the greatest
What is
2
there to
minutes in
love about the
sports.
Derby?
It's
Just-
short. It's quick. There's a lot of pomp and
It's a lot of
circumstance.
pomp and
Yeah.
circumstance
Yes.
for, what, a minute?
So?
2 minutes.
Yeah,
Two.
2 minutes.
It's
2
really
minutes.
good 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
It's
Fastest
a
2
very
minutes in
exciting
sports.
2 minutes. There's a lot of adrenaline in those 2 minutes.
That's right. And everyone's going to pretend to care about horse racing for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
And we're
for
going to
2
get
minutes.
dressed up
Uh-huh.
In silly hats.
in silly hats and whatever.
But I could have a mint julep, and
But
everybody thinks it's cool.
You know what? And Jamie, here's the thing. I may not like it, but I understand why
Sure.
other people do like this. However, this weekend, I was waiting for the playoff hockey games to start on ESPN. And what was on, as I'm flipping through channels, was Banana Ball.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The
don't
Savannah
like Banana
Bananas.
Ball?
If you don't know,
Savannah Bananas are coming for 3 nights at Wrigley, Frank. I'm on the
it
list
is.
to try to
Let
get
me
tickets.
tell you something.
Ooh.
It is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my life.
Oh,
The
he's
fact
one
that-
of these.
The fact, Parker, explain it to me because I don't get it.
He's one of
I
these.
don't understand. I kept it on for
One of
2
these.
innings, and
Yeah.
I'm looking at Kyle Field where Texas A&M football plays.
Yeah.
Over 100,000 people are there to watch the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah.
How
It's
many
fake
MLB
baseball.
teams draw 100,000
It's
people?
fun. Frank, it's a party. It's a good old
Whimsy,
time.
Frank. It's
got
also
your
athleticism.
100,000 people.
Frank
Yes.
does not look like he
Yeah.
wants whimsy today.
No.
Frank don't want whimsy at all.
Frank doesn't want to hear us any sort of. Frank
There
is
were- look,
Frank is
man.
taking on my persona as the cranky man today.
I've seen clips of like Alicia says, Frank, the Savannah Bananas are fun. They're not.
They are.
They're not.
They are. They're
They
cool.
are.
No,
They're
they-
fun.
they do
Where
like-
else are you gonna see that kind of stuff in baseball? You're not gonna see that kind of stuff in
Who
baseball.
wants to
Because
see
baseball's
that in
so fun.
baseball?
It's the Masters. Does that sound
The
familiar,
Masters
Frank?
is tradition. The Kentucky Derby gets a pass for tradition. This is just dumb.
So you hate modernism.
What makes it dumb? What makes it dumb that they're doing things outside of traditional baseball, Abner?
We're
Doubleday?
doing bits. Look, Dude Perfect, the YouTube people
Yeah.
came out apparently at this game. They're playing the Texas Tailgaters.
Right.
Yeah.
What part of this is fun? The left field fence was 180 feet.
That was absurd. That was
My
very funny.
fence in Little League was 250. What are we doing? Why are people enjoying this? We've got people doing backflips and trying to catch fly
Yes.
balls in their hats.
And they're doing it.
What's a
That's
good
what's
time?
amazing.
The dude dropped it.
Once.
I
You just saw that
don't.
play.
I don't understand. The umpire was like grinding on the catcher,
That
calling
does happen,
strikes. It's Parker. Look at me and tell me that's not weird.
Oh, Frank, come on. Baseball's always been a little weird.
What I love is that one of you is
I
so
love
angry,
Frank is so
and the other
traditional.
one is trying to actually defend away the weirdness of it all.
I
That's what I
just-
appreciate about this conversation this morning.
I had a full conversation about this
In your
with
head?
like my best friend's parents because they were so excited to like go to it. 'Cause they
Yeah.
went like when they
It's
played
awesome.
where the White Sox play. And I was like, really? You traveled down to the south side of Chicago to see this? A place you've never gone? Thank you, Chad. It's weird. And they're
Lynn
like, it's
wants to
so
know-
much fun, you gotta go. And in my head, and I'm being so polite and nice and being like, yeah, you know what? I'll look into it. And in my head, I'm like, there's not a chance in hell you're getting me to spend money to go see this.
Frank Lynn in Golden Valley wants to know what are your thoughts on the Harlem Globetrotters, who I saw when I was in 7th grade with the legends
Right?
Meadowlark, Lemon, and Curly Neal.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
So this is a yes, I love the Globetrotters, but
No.
I don't want to.
No, I would never go
I
see
don't-
the
I don't-
Globetrotters.
I was going to say, I don't think
I would
he loves
never.
the Globetrotters.
No, I
I'm
would
just
never
looking
go
at his
see the
face.
Globetrotters. The Globetrotters pull an appropriate audience for what the product is.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they've been pulling that audience for decades.
Decades.
Yeah.
I think it's fallen off, though, hasn't it? How many people do you
Probably.
talk to go, yeah, we're really excited to go see the Globetrotters?
I don't know. I don't
You
know
don't
how.
hear about the
don't hear-
Globetrotters aren't on ESPN.
The Globetrotters.
Do you know what was on ESPN last night while I was at dinner? ESPN 8.
The Ocho?
The
The
Ocho?
Ocho.
Professional pillow fighting is what
Yeah.
I was watching on
The Ocho
ESPN.
gets a pass.
The Ocho rocks.
I was
Yeah.
like,
They
what
play
is-
it too much now, though.
There were
It
coaches.
used to be exclusive.
They
Yeah, it used to be
actually
like
had
one
coach-
day.
Yeah.
They had like professional coaches in this professional
Sure.
pillow fight. Right?
Well, you
pillow
can't be
fight ring.
professional without coaches, Jamie.
This is true. This is true. But I mean, it was the most absurd thing I'd ever seen in my life. And on
More
another
absurd than
TV,
slap fighting?
Yes.
Slap fighting's
Slap
fun.
fighting.
Slap fighting is awesome.
So,
Now,
Frank,
Frank,
what we're learning
in
is you have
30
standards.
years or 50 years, if they add some festivities to slap fighting, are you going to be, that slap fighting used to be good?
No, because I still wouldn't pay money to go watch it.
Just YouTube videos.
Yeah, if a clip comes up on TikTok, I'll watch the dude get knocked out cold from a slap.
Well, the bananas will run their course. It's something, it's exciting. And in this day and age,
different. We need
people
something.
don't want, you have to be in a certain mindset to watch traditional baseball. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's very laconic. You just
Yeah.
kind of loll about and you wait. There's a lot of dead time. People want pageantry and fun and music and backflips and crazy mascots and things
Problem
to
with this
do.
country.
But
Well,
no,
yeah, but if you look at minor league baseball, it's the same thing. Minor league baseball, other than the game being played the same, there's a lot of that craziness to draw that
Yeah.
crowd, and
But
they're
that
not.
stuff,
And MLB isn't drawing the crowds.
I have a horribly hard time watching baseball on TV and listening to it on the radio. It's much different when you're there because there's actually things to look at and do, and there's
Hot
fun
dogs
stuff
and beer
happening.
and-
Exactly. But if I have to watch it on TV or if I have to listen to it on the radio, it's a very hard task for me. But that's
Here's
not
what
to
I'll-
say I don't love a game.
here's what I'll give Banana Ball. It's very fast paced, which
Yeah.
is something Major League Baseball struggles with.
Pitch
Two,
clocks, yeah.
they have a great marketing department.
Yep.
Major League Baseball has the worst marketing department in
Yeah.
all of
Well, yeah,
major
'cause they
sports.
lean into to tradition.
They
which
also
is,
make it.
They don't
also
market the
make,
players.
right.
No.
but they also Banana Ball also has a really good marketing going to your point about pricing. Their pricing is low. All the tickets are the same price. You're not keeping families out. That's why you can take your whole family to go to a game, and it's something different. And it is at this point, it's the scarcity of it too. Yeah, they're coming for 3 nights in Wrigley, but they don't sell the ticket. You have to be on a waiting list. I joined the waiting list a year ago to try to
Oh
get.
my God, you're one of them.
Because I'd like to go to a game. I don't watch it when it comes on TV. I don't. But if it came and I could go for $35, yeah, I'd go and have a good time, Frank.
Have a couple
Sometimes I
drinks.
like to have a little fun in my life, and I don't need to be, And Frank, I would have to go to Wrigley to do it, which pains me to even say out loud.
You should be excited for this prospect, Frank. That he'd have to go to Wrigley.
Ugh.
Even more. No, I'm done. You've got
Yeah,
20 seconds.
they're
I
gonna
don't have
take
enough
your
time
little
to rant.
chapel, aren't they? They're gonna make it so cheap. They're gonna cheapen Wrigley. Shut up. All right, well that's Frank. He's angry. We'll be back to hey, maybe universities are gonna cut the cost of grad school.
Frank, I am appalled.
But you shouldn't be surprised. Also, here, you can have more fun at my expense here. On Friday, it was nice out in Chicago.
Did you leave it out?
Tickets for the Cubs game were dirt cheap.
Yeah.
So I looked at Allison and I said, hey.
How? You're good.
I don't know
was
why.
May
It was
1st.
weird. I think it was really cold in the morning and then it warmed up.
Yeah.
So I was like, Allison, let's go to the game. And she goes, I have a lot of work to do. I know it's a Friday and usually I'd be able to do it, but I have a lot of work. And I was like, okay.
Valid.
Is that where you got sick?
No.
Oh.
I asked my buddy Tim. He's like, I have to work late today too. And I was like, oh my God, nobody can go to this game. So I was like, should I just go by myself and sit in the bleachers? Bleacher seat was $11. And I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't. Later that night, I go on Instagram. Who was sitting in the bleachers, Parker?
Don't say Tim.
Ted Lasso
So,
and Coach
yeah.
Beard.
Yes. I saw those pictures.
Yes.
Well, that sucks.
To which I turned to my wife. I said, this is why I
is
just
what
want to
we could've
jump
had.
off the roof of the building right now.
And you could have done that if you were at the game.
$11.
$11. Even if you had only stayed a few innings, it would have been worth it.
That's what I was going to do. And I was like, no, I'll stay here.
Maybe you're not a true fan, Frank. You ever think of that?
Chad, if anybody's realized that there's some weird people,
Yeah.
I am weird. There are
Four of
things I
them
do
right here.
that are weird. Everybody's weird.
We're all weird.
We're all weird. Yeah.
We're all
But
crazy.
I'm not paying for this weirdness.
Oh, come on.
And the amount of people that pay for this weirdness is what
But it's so cheap.
I equate this to the WWE. Another
Oh
thing I
my-
don't understand.
Wow.
It's the same thing.
Wow.
I don't like WWE either. I don't like WWE.
Parker,
at all.
it's the same
But I-
thing.
no. 15
What's different?
seconds. 15 seconds. I'm not.
I'll see you all for Swiper's Day.
Frank, Parker will not even engage.
From Lake Superior to Lake Michigan, this is Wisconsin's Morning Conversation. Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
6:22 right now. We hope that your morning is going well so far. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Civic Media Network. I am Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. We'd like to hear from you, especially about something that, if you think that what we're going to talk about now, the Education Department capping graduate school loans, if that means that universities will lower the cost of grad school. 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. You can always join us on our social media pages, Daybreak with Brian and Jamie on Facebook and Instagram. Get the Civic Media app. And don't forget, you can stream us and watch us do the show. Oh, it's fascinating. Watching radio is one of the highlights of anybody's viewing experience. You can watch us on YouTube and Facebook. So there you go.
We get prettied and gussied up for you every
Oh,
morning
yeah.
just for that moment.
Parker, are you going to cry? Chad thinks you're going to cry. He sends us
Am I
a
gonna
message.
cry? If Frank keeps giving us these awful takes.
The nice part is
Might.
about watching radio is you get a show behind the show, which
You do.
is
That's true.
which is what Chad is referring
Chad,
to
yes.
in the comment based on our commercial break conversation. If you are watching the stream,
Do you remember, though, when they first started, like Howard Stern did it, Don Imus did it, there were some other
Yeah.
shows that did in the early days where they just shot it in their radio studio.
Yeah.
And to me, that was fascinating to watch.
yeah,
Now
agreed.
that I'm doing it, it's like, there's nothing to watch here. You're able to listen to us. That's good.
I get reminded a lot because I constantly move around. I use my hands to talk that there's a camera in front of me. I get that reminder a lot.
I didn't get into this to be on camera.
Right?
But now
Yeah.
that I'm so pretty, it would be a crime not to share this with the
That's
world.
right. That's right. Show
you
the
know.
pretty face.
Sure,
I get
you
it.
gotta listen. The money maker, right here.
There you go.
Parker. Someday they'll just keep my head alive, and it'll just talk, and it'll look good, and that'll be
Cryogenics.
You'll be pushing buttons for a head in a jar, but that's not
the
till
money
next
maker.
week. So that's the money maker.
We got some time. We got some time.
Jamie and the money maker.
It's like a band name.
Every once in a while, you'll have to change my fluid. Anyway.
Aw. I'd rather talk about how grad school prices are definitely not going down now.
You don't
Thank
think
for
so?
saving us from ourselves, Parker.
Well, listen, this all goes into it all part of the brain, right? The U.S. Department of Education did announce Thursday that new caps on federal loans for grad school go into effect July 1st. The department said this decision is part of the president's efforts to reduce cost of post-secondary education and streamline the student loan process. Is he so removed from reality? And don't answer in general. Yes, we know that.
Rhetorical.
Right. It is a rhetorical question because we know the answer. But does he really think that this is going to make postgraduate education cheaper? Like all of a sudden UW-Madison is going to go, well, since people can't get loans to get their master's degrees and their PhDs and all the other advanced degrees, we're just going to slash costs, because I'm sure all the professors will take pay cuts, and I'm sure the facilities,
they don't
electricity,
need upkeep. It's fine.
Right. It'll all just go down because you can't get a student loan. But once again, it's him not thinking or caring about people. So last July, the president signed the big, beautiful bill. It included major changes to the federal student loan system. The administration said that tightening caps on student loans will force universities to lower the cost of tuition. Wow. This is...
It's going to actually probably do the opposite.
Of
let's
course
be
it will.
realistic.
It's also going to drop the number of people who are willing to take, if you're going, my wife in her late adulthood earned 2 master's degrees.
Sure.
She had to take out loans just like when our daughter was an undergrad, just like most people have student loans. She did that. Now, she did it because she was able to take out loans to get her education, and she's paying them back. That's how it goes. But if you can't get a loan and you're looking at having to private pay for an education,
right?
Not a chance.
No.
And then the damage, to him and the wrestling Department of Education, that is, they don't see what harm that will do down the road. But if you have, my future son-in-law has a PhD. I'm sure if he had to pay for that out of pocket,
right,
he probably wouldn't have a PhD. Well, why does he need a PhD? Because we need smart people. We see what happens when dumb people run the joint.
Well, and to your point, I mean, if we're shrinking the federal money, right?
Right.
The schools are going to have to backfill somehow. Mm-hmm. So that usually means a couple of things: to higher tuition, fewer programs, or fewer spots. Not to mention the fact that I worry about what happens to lower income individuals who still want to go in and find some sort of higher education, because they're not going to be able to pay for this. And then if you think about what's happening in Wisconsin, in what fields actually need, what we actually need in this state, everything from teachers to healthcare workers, some of those programs aren't even being included in this higher professional loan cap.
This is professional loans.
That's a major, going to be a major implication going forward, because as you rightly point out, we need smart people doing really awesome things, not only in Wisconsin, but around the country. So I don't know how this helps anything. All this is what they assume is going to be some sort of talking point that makes them feel good, maybe look good, and it's not going to benefit anybody in the long run. There's absolutely no benefit to anybody in the long run. For this program.
You brought up professional categories of these degrees, programs in pharmacy, dentistry, veterinary medicine, chiropractic, law, medicine, optometry, osteopathic medicine, podiatry, theology, and clinical psychology. And then they distinguish between professional and other graduate programs. And that's what sparked controversy, because they're saying, well, wait, they've excluded nursing, physical therapy, and social work. It is just one more step toward the dumbing down of the nation and making sure people cannot get the education that they want. I don't know.
College was already expensive. This isn't helping.
Nope. New poll numbers are out. Not good for Republicans.
Let's see. Lynn from Golden Valley says that she has a warning for me if we have a duck family in our bush.
I saw
Expect
that,
us to be a Papa faking a broken wing in the yard. I have not seen Papa Duck. I've not seen a papa duck anywhere.
Papa
and
duck.
usually ducks are in pairs, but I have not seen a male duck anywhere in our yard or near our duck. And you're right, though. Lure for cats and dogs.
I
and
loved
then-
when Eminem destroyed Papa Duck in 8 Mile. That was great.
And then Roger from Stevens Point points out, as we talk about this graduate school story, that the interest rates on private student loans are insane. Those could be around 12 to 15. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I mean, they're not. All of the things that they're touting are actually going to help people actually make things worse and more expensive and more out of reach for a majority of people, or at least for the people that they deem not worthy of these programs.
Well, they don't value education.
No.
And they also don't value the struggles that the American public goes through all the time and what people are willing to take on to get that education, to better themselves, to follow, their dreams, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And I mean, and when you look at the GOP has had a war on education, though, for a long time. And when you watch what's happened in the southern states about like taking away history classes and not teaching government.
Because the more educated people are, the more they think for themselves and the more they question the status quo.
Yeah.
And they don't, it's easier to confuse, mislead, and win over dumb people, for lack of a better term. People who are uneducated, or even if you can be uneducated and still be wise and still have smarts. You don't have to have a degree to be smart.
Nope.
You have to have a curiosity that a lot of people don't have, because curiosity then leads you to places that can be scary.
Right.
And when you are curious and you follow that curiosity, you can discover things that question everything you may have believed up to that point.
Right.
So a degree doesn't make you smart. Curiosity and the willingness to learn and adapt is what makes you intelligent.
And we wouldn't want people having any sort of curiosity about anything.
No, because if you go, you don't even with this group, you don't even have to go that deep. You have to go like one sentence past what they say, and you're like, oh, hold on. It took me 17 seconds to find out that is all bull.
Right. That's why the ban on books and all of the things that they want to take out of our kids' hands. Yep.
Don't teach slavery. Don't teach anything that America did wrong.
Right.
Because you can still be a great country and it can be greater if you actually admit your mistakes. Right. Nobody gets better by not admitting their mistakes and trying to do things differently.
But if we just don't talk about them, they didn't happen.
Correct. Or if you talk about them, then you are a traitor.
Right.
Why are you always focusing on that? Why are you fake newsing it?
Don't we see that, though? I mean, you see that time and time again, which is why when people talk about, during the election, when people were afraid of these things happening and you got yelled at for Trump derangement syndrome, this is literally what happens in authoritarian countries.
Yes.
It's
don't
the
question
same
dear
playbook.
leader.
It's the same playbook over and over.
Yes.
And we know that Trump has an affinity for liking authoritarians. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, and he's able to act exactly like that because nobody is stopping him.
There's no checks and balances on him right now.
Now I have to triple check this. I've looked at a number of sources that he's painted the inside of the reflecting pool a bright blue, and got no congressional approval. Destroyed the whole deal. Was the dark interior of the pool reflected all the monuments?
All right. We have got 10 seconds till we're back.
Oh, Parker.
Now back to more of Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's 6:35 right now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. If you're in Madison listening on WMDX or in Eau Claire listening on 93.5 The Tap, or in Wisconsin Rapids this morning listening on WFHR, we're glad that you decided to join us on the Civic Media Network. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. How confident are you when you hear poll numbers released? 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. The reason and Jamie, we've talked about polls before, and both of us kind of, I think, come from the same mindset where you don't take them as Bible. You take them as an indicator because, like, the one we're going to talk about has a plus or minus 2% margin of error. But even with that, even if you get this poll is not good.
It's not good.
Not good if you are the president. Not good if you are a Republican looking toward midterms. A new Washington Post, ABC News Ipsos poll was released over the weekend, and man, oh man, it says that the Republicans have an uphill battle going into the midterms, and this president is, despite his self-proclaimed your favorite president moniker, boy, oh boy, it seems he is not. His approval on economic issues has fallen. His overall performance rating fallen. The way people are talking about the war, not good. For example, let's start with this one. Americans disapprove of his handling of the war in Iran by 66% to 33%. Now, I will admit, before we go into numbers, I am not a math major. I didn't have money to get my postgraduate degree in mathematics, or actually take any mathematics during college. But
not that I wanted to anyway. But
I did not want to. The rating of the economy has declined by 7 points to 34%. As gas has spiked, the approval rating on inflation has fallen 5 points in that time to 27%. And his lowest rating comes on perceptions of his handling of the general cost of living, with 23% approving versus 76% disapproving. Now, sidebar, he did say that affordability is just a great line of BS over the weekend. So that was... that was good too. Now, just at first blush, I know you've delved into this, Jamie. Do you feel this is an accurate portrayal of how the country? To me, it makes sense, but of course, I'm in that segment of the population that would say, yeah, he's doing a horrible job. Everything is awful, and that's not Trump derangement syndrome. It's my wallet is getting skinnier and skinnier.
Right, and I think. Here's my thing with polling. I don't necessarily trust polling during the election period when you're pitting one candidate against the other. Sure. We've seen over the past few years, especially with Donald Trump in a race, how those numbers skew because some people won't admit that they want to vote for him, or people who are going to vote for him will say that they're not because they want to play with these numbers. And by the way, that is a fact. That has happened in 2 different elections now. Here's what I will say, though, about these types of polls is they fall very much in line with the state level polling that we're seeing, even here in Wisconsin, that we saw from Marquette just last week. Mm-hmm. So I have more faith in where we're at. And let's be clear, too, I think when it comes to this type of polling, when you're talking about things like the economy, wars, people are more apt to be freer in how they answer.
Sure. If you ask somebody about the gas prices, they don't feel I have to hide this from my neighbor.
Right.
Because my neighbor's buying gas too. And if I say, no, gas prices are great, my neighbor's going to go, you're so full of
Right. You know? So people will be more honest in their perceptions in these type of polls. I guess as we get into this poll, the one thing that stands out to me the most about this is how low this president is right now. And when we look at past history, when other presidents have had these same types of numbers, we look at Jimmy Carter or even George W. Bush, you go all the way back to Truman. Those are numbers that drag the party down. down, and the incumbent party usually does not do very well in the upcoming election, or they lose completely, or, there's very safe districts, but, the ones that are very swing type districts usually don't go in their favor. So if that's something that you're looking forward to in November, and you look at what history has in store or what it's shown us in the past, those are all very good signs.
Well, the
that's
other
something.
big sign building on that is the number of independents who are saying that they are leaning toward Democrats is very high. So that's going to be another thing. And now to that point, so you and I tend to try to come at things from logic, and you a lot of facts and research and stuff. But just from a common sense standpoint, if I'm one of these Republicans in Congress who is blindly following this guy and doing everything he says, common sense would say, I look at this and I go, okay, it's a poll, maybe not. But even if you give the margin of error, even if you give them those 2 points, they're still getting destroyed.
They're underwater. They're completely underwater. Yeah.
And at some point, yeah, it's a poll, but it's also a segment of American citizens, your employer, basically. And if your employer is that upset with performance, you've got to realize, well, then my job is in jeopardy. Maybe I stop listening to the manager and I start working like I'm supposed to for the people who are actually in charge. But that doesn't seem to be changing.
But this is why we're also at so many state levels, especially, and even here in Wisconsin, why I think we're seeing so many members of the Republican Party decide to suddenly step down or retire, because they are seeing the same polling. They actually have better polling within the parties than we even are privy to as the general public, and they're seeing the trends that we're seeing in a much deeper level. And
doesn't that smack of cowardice, though? Let's be honest.
It does.
If you can see these polls, instead of staying and working to your potential and working for your people and having a little backbone, you're going to just tuck tail and run because you're going to get beat.
It's all very much cowardice, and that's why. This is why even when we look at the state of Wisconsin, where we've had 14 members of the GOP decide that they're going to step down for the next election, that's why there is a little bit of celebration, because the margins of Wisconsin are winnable, especially with the current maps. But at the same time, it angers me for just the reason you're talking about, because you were voted to do a job. And essentially because you're not doing the job, instead of sticking around and facing the people who put you there, you're like, nope, family. I've got new opportunities. No, you don't.
No,
maybe you have a but you're making an excuse because you don't physically or want to do the job you set out to do.
You don't want to face accountability for hitching your wagon to what is proving to be not a star, but a bomb that is just blowing up the entire party. You hitched your wagon blindly to that cause, and you followed it, and you dared not do anything. You didn't, God forbid, you stood up on your own as a Republican and said, I don't agree with this. So, I'm going to do something. And if I lose the Republican base, I lose, but at least I went down fighting. You didn't go down fighting. You picked a side that was safe because you had the numbers, you had the backing of the administration, and you stayed in that lane. And I find it hard to believe that every Republican has gone along with this in Congress really believed it. And that's where I get mad, because I don't have an illusion that Republicans are all evil, unlike the talking points that come out about Democrats. I know there are sensible Republicans. I know there are Republicans who really they're hiding. They're hiding. They don't want to be called out by the president. They don't want to be primaried. They don't want to deal with it. So Len in Madison is saying polls are high or polls are low. Depends if you are referring to the polling of approval or disapproval. Well, you bring that up. And what are you thinking about the numbers we're giving you? 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. So Len, his overall approval now stands at 37% rather. That's about the same as the 39% figure in February, but the disapproval rating has reached 62%. That's the highest of Trump's 2 terms in office. And that's, 2/3 of the people. That's a lot of the people. People are saying I'm the best. No, they're not. They haven't said that for quite some time.
No.
Sir, people are coming up to me, sir, you're the best. No.
No.
His rating as a pub among Republican-leaning independents has reached a new low of 56%. So his approval rating stands at 25% among independents overall, which is another bad sign for Republicans down the ticket.
Well, and I think that's where the numbers change. Is independents are obviously going to change an election. We saw what happened in 2024 when independents could not fathom voting for Kamala Harris because the plan was too close to what Joe Biden had, or for whatever reasons they thought she was a warmonger, or whatever. There were a plethora of reasons, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, and that's where the numbers are absolutely going to be the most important, because we do have so many people right now in this country who do not recognize the Democratic Party as their own or the Republican Party as their own, and somewhere they're in the middle. And I can accept that, and I have no problem with independence. The problem is going to be when you aren't giving independents what they want and the swing that they can have in this election. When gas prices are as high as they are, when grocery prices are as high as they are, when rent's going up, utilities going up, property tax is always a discussion. When people are being asked how they feel about the economy, especially the independents, and they're not thinking about the gross domestic product or the stock markets because they can't even afford to invest, then they're thinking about their own monthly bills. And that's where you cannot lose the independents. Republicans are usually going to stick with the party. It's just how it always goes. Democrats, if you have a Democratic president, I always find it interesting because Democrats are much more fickle in these polls under, even with Joe Biden in office, Democrats were not on his side economically. He lost Democrats in a large way when he was in office in the polling as well. So I always find it interesting how fickle the Republicans are and how they will absolutely stick with that talking point. Independents, though, not so much.
No, the independents are going to swing it. There's also, with everything that's going on with the gerrymandering, it's going to depend on, I think, anger will drive a lot of people to the polls in November. Especially if you're in a district, if you're in a state where suddenly, like Louisiana, you've lost one of your seats because of this gerrymandering, or if you're in Tennessee or Arkansas where they're postponing things and they're trying to get new maps in before this. You canceled the primaries in Louisiana because you couldn't, you had to.
We're going to dive into that a little bit more later.
Yeah, we are going to get into
morning.
it.
Yeah,
it's just
interesting.
The whole thing is nuts, but that's what's going. I think anger and just wallets are going to be the big drivers in this election, more so than any other. And then you add to it the dread of what is happening to this country as a whole, and that is there's going to be enough people, no matter I think who the candidates are. I think Democrats will vote. Democrats, unlike some Republicans, don't seem to vote against their own self-interest. They will vote against a Democratic candidate for whatever other issue. But when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of life, they're going to stick by, and that's going to drive it too.
And according to this poll, Democrats are energized because they see what's happening. Takes a little groundwork, but they're energized.
You need to be energized to clean your house. Are you a big devotee of spring cleaning? I saw this. I went for this for the headline. I stayed for the story. We'll get to Swedish death cleaning on Daybreak.
Yikes.
I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson, 648 on the Civic Media Network.
Swedish death cleaning.
Swedish death cleaning.
Uplifting.
That's a weird way to say it's an estate sale.
It's not, though. It's not.
Was it not?
It's just getting ready for the inevitable. Yes.
You laugh, Parker. Someday,
you get to
someday, if you have to move,
because my grandparents have been trying to give their stuff to us for years.
Yeah. So just wait till you have to clean out if they do decide to move and you have to clean out their house. You're gonna go, why did you save this? Why
Yeah.
did you save this?
See, my mom is so funny. She's just the opposite at this point.
Oh,
My mom's
really?
like, oh gosh, no, she's been getting rid of stuff since she moved here a few years ago because she's like, when I go, I don't want you guys to have to worry about any of this.
Yeah.
So she's just been getting rid of stuff and paring stuff down, especially as her health has gotten worse. And she's like,
my ma, she
No,
wanted,
She wants it all.
man, she wanted everything. When she left the house and moved into independent living, she went from 4-bedroom split-level house
oh,
filled
she tried to
to
cram
the
it all
brim.
into an apartment, didn't she?
She tried to get it all into a 1-bedroom part, and I was like, Ma, it's not. First of all, you don't have a formal dining room, so dining room set's out. They had a couch. It was. They bought it when they first got married, so now it would be, I don't know, 64, 65 years old. But it was like an 8-footer. It was this giant one-piece couch. It took up
Wow.
the whole wall. It was great to sleep on because you could actually stretch all the way out on it.
Right.
Yeah.
But she's like, can I take the couch? I go, no, there's no wall anywhere big enough for this couch. This is a couch that this couch fits in this room because it's a big living room.
It's the hallway couch of the apartment building.
Oh my
now.
God. Yeah. It's,
Climb your way down the hall.
yeah. You put it in the lobby in the, the common room, maybe. But yeah. And just going through boxes and boxes. Her garage, Parker, she had a 2.5-car garage. You know how many cars she could get in there?
None.
At least 3.
None.
Correct, Jamie. The guess
know.
is 0. It
Yeah.
took, and I've over the course of my life, I had cleaned that garage to the walls twice before, only to have it filled up again. And then it took Debbie and I, because none of my brothers came in to help, so it was us and Molly for a little while. Days to clean it out. Three of those. What's the company that comes and takes all your stuff? The junk guys.
Yeah, the junk haulers, removals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They came the first time. It filled the truck so high they had to throw a tarp over it, and it was bulging. Then they came back another time. It was insane. So I saw this and I was like, I have to start doing this. I have to start death cleaning.
All right. We've got about 10 seconds till we can talk about it, Brian.
Well, Parker, I'm gonna.
Fairly solid and better than expected. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
6:52 right now. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on a gorgeous start to your Monday. We're talking upper 60s to upper 70s, depending on where you're at in the state today. So enjoy some good spring weather. My name is Jamie Martinson.
Hey, good morning. I'm Brian Noonan. I could throw a wet blanket on that beautiful forecast for today, Jamie, but I'm not going to. I'll let people learn about it on
That's
their
right.
own. Why
That's
start? Mondays are hard enough.
They are.
So it's springtime, allegedly.
It is.
And a lot of people, is spring cleaning still a thing? I mean, when I was a kid, that was a big, everybody talked about, we're going to do spring cleaning. We're going to get the house all spick and span after the winter and get things
I clean
going.
all the time, and throughout the year, I don't. And when I dust, it's a pretty thorough dusting once a week. So I don't really feel like, and I'm constantly washing blankets and things. So I don't really feel like I need to do a spring cleaning because
Maybe that was before washer machines were in everybody's house.
It
I mean,
could
I
be.
feel
It
I
could
feel the
be.
house is pretty clean. We clean it. We don't live in
Right?
squalor.
Yeah, I
But,
clean all the time.
But are you a devotee of spring cleaning? 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. People already chiming in. Roger in Stevens Point, my dad has been cleaning the house. He was listening to us on the show within a show, which you can too. He only keeps what he needs. And then Len in Madison says, regarding spring cleaning, there is definitely a couple of houses that are long overdue. Oh, I see what you're doing there, Len. Tying in the politics. Very nice.
That's right.
Nicely
That's right.
done.
Love it.
I saw this, and based on personal experience, I am going to say we all need to adopt this. Swedish death cleaning. Now it sounds worse than it is.
Sounds horrible. Yeah.
I don't know if you're stockpiling dead people. That's not what it means in Sweden. It means, think about it, getting rid of all the stuff in your house that you don't need, that clutters up, that if you were to die tomorrow, your family would have to deal with.
Right.
And I'm not talking, your clothes, your furniture, some knickknacks, that kind of stuff. But we all have stuff in our house that we don't need to be saving.
Right.
That we save it anyway. Why do you have that? I might need it someday.
Right.
Do you really?
No.
And the reason this hit close to home, and I'm guilty of it too. I mean, you look behind me, I got goofy stuff, but that's stuff that I know. I don't expect my daughter to go through that and say, "Oh, should we keep all the Captain America figurines?" No. Maybe if I have a grandson someday or a granddaughter and they come over and they go, "Hey, Pops, what's with the Captain America? Blah, blah, blah. Can I have that?" Yes. Take it to your parents' house right now. Good. Because your mom and dad are going to have to deal with it later. So you can have it now.
Kids change everything. There was a long period of time where we just had a room that was kid stuff. I thought I was a hoarder when we had to move it out. I really did. I sat and cried over the dumpster. I was like, and cried to my husband. I'm like, I might be a hoarder. Do I need the show? I might be a hoarder. No, kids change everything.
No, my mom was definitely a hoarder. That was the problem. That's why this hit close to home, because when I had to clean out her house when she moved from the house that we grew up in. She moved from my grandparents' house. They got married, they bought this house, and they were in it forever up until 2 years ago. So, and she didn't throw anything away. I mean, it wasn't to the point where it wasn't like trail, but there were some bedrooms and some rooms that you didn't go in because they were just full of stuff. Like when you walked in, you weren't accosted because she kept the living room and dining room pretty clean, for show.
When you went up the steps.
When you went into, a couple of the bedrooms or in the garage, 2.5 car garage that did not fit a garage or a car rather. Anyway, so the basic definition of Swedish death cleaning. It's a process in which a person cleans out their belongings and sets their affairs in order in anticipation of their death. Parker, someday, I hate to tell you, brother, someday you may die. Start planning now.
Oh, this is horrible.
Keep your stuff. Get your affairs in order right now.
How can you do that to me on a Monday?
Well,
he's young enough that maybe they won't. There might be something to prevent that down
That's
the road.
true.
He's got
All right.
enough
Well,
AI
joking
and
about your
technology.
head in a jar. I might actually get my head in a jar.
you
Who
might get
knows?
your head in the jar.
Yeah.
Just just think about down the road, and it's when you start getting to a certain age, you think about what people are going to have to sort through. And I already know things I have to get rid of before anybody comes into this house.
Yeah.
Certain drawers.
And we were talking about this. It's funny because my mom, having as many health issues as she's had, she's a full preparer. And so since she's gotten sick about 3 years ago, she's already started this process. She is totally within the Swedish trends because she has started cleaning things out. I know the drawer of all of the important documents. I know where the key is. I know where everything's at. I know where all the policies are at. Because I'm an only child, I am also on all of those policies. So if something happens to her at the end of it, you don't go through all of that weird, well, how do we get to this? How do we actually cancel this? What do we do with this? I know where everything is at. There is one drawer. It's all there. She has started cleaning out her stuff. She started cleaning out cupboards. She started taking things to Goodwills and Salvation Armies. I mean, she is on top of this, and that's what she's been doing. And yeah, it seems weird, right? Like it feels a little morbid when you start having the conversation, but it's right.
But if you don't look at it that way, and that's kind of the thing, you're just getting rid of excess stuff that you no longer need, and it makes your life simpler too. I mean, I know I kind of at times have a Spartan mentality where I don't need a lot of things around.
Right.
So it's nice. And so if you're thinking of that, get rid of it. And it doesn't mean you have to do it right away. It's a long process. And one of the tenets is that you just, take the time. If you come across a box of pictures, if you're not going to digitize them, take the time and enjoy it and revel in the memories and stuff. And then either maybe you can scan them because you can keep stuff easily on a thumb drive. Just do that. If you can't do that, just, what made my mom happy is we didn't throw a lot of stuff, didn't get thrown away. A lot of it got donated, and that made her very happy. She was like, awesome. Oh, somebody's going to use it. And so that's what you do.
Yeah.
Hey, yes, when we come back, oh man, it's time for some stuff you need to know. We'll do that and more. This is Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson. It is 6:59 right now. You are listening to the Civic Media Network. I think the advantage of moving as much as we've moved over the last few years is that it's harder to accumulate stuff. Because every time we move, we
don't want to move that much stuff.
We don't want to move it, and so we get rid of a bunch of stuff again. Or we look at the stuff that we currently have, even if it's, like stuff we would move. We're like, yeah, realistically, how much have we used this in the last, year or two? Because we've literally bought and sold, we'll be married 23 years. We are married 23 years as of April. We've bought and sold 6 houses and lived in 2 rentals now. So,
how many different cities is that though? Or okay, I guess I shouldn't say cities. More like
3, 4, 5.
Okay.
5 different cities.
Okay.
I had to think in my head our timeline. Yeah, 5 different cities. So
we've been trying to get rid of stuff too. It's just there's some stuff. The extra china and crystal, we tried to even sell it, but there's no market for that anymore because young people aren't buying it, and it's
and nobody it's more
nobody
stuff.
want it, and it's
but that's just it. It's stuff, right?
I know, and it's like, oh man, this is thousands of dollars. I don't want to just, So, and
luckily, I buy
the hardest part for me is Christmas. Christmas stuff I hate getting rid of. Debbie is a little more pragmatic when it comes to that, so we have winnowed it down, but our house looks like Christmas exploded.
Can I tell you that up until this year, this was the first year in 5 years we even put up a tree because we usually take Christmas to travel.
Okay.
So why would we do a big family vacation usually over the holidays? That's what we do. Or we leave come home right at the day before Christmas, the 23rd or the 24th, or we leave on the 26th and we don't come home until after the new year. That's how we've done it because we got to a certain point where there was one year that I was just buying gifts to buy gifts for our kids.
Well,
who didn't really need anything or want anything. And
right.
Corey and I just made the decision that forget it. We're going to do experiences over more stuff. And so that's what we've always done for the last, it's become a really fun tradition because we pick, everybody gets a say in where we're going to go. And we usually end up making it a really fun family thing where we end up putting everybody's picks into a hat. And then we have the waitress draw it out at a family dinner. And that's where we're going to go. We've made it a really fun thing. But up until this year, this was the first year in 5 years I've put up a tree. And I didn't hate it at all. I was I love this. This year when I had to put up the tree, I was so upset because I was it's here. Now what? Now I'm going to have to take it down. And I knew that my time was limited. And I hate having trees up past Christmas. That thing stood in our living room. Oh my God. December 25th at midnight, I would be ready to take it down.
No.
We'll keep it up until maybe the 6th or 7th.
I will keep it. I always kept it up. Here was my thing. Max's birthday is January 7th. So in my head, it needed to be out and down before his birthday because it just felt like a good, fresh, hard out, right?
Sure.
I would keep it up. It drove me nuts. And I would loathe that tree. There were times Corey would look at me and he'd be like, are you actually snarling at the Christmas tree right now? I was
wow.
Kinda,
and I love
Christmas.
love having, I have 3, we're in a small house. We have 3 full-size trees in this house.
Oh, cool.
Then
I
we
love
have
Christmas.
Then we have a couple pop-up trees around.
Sure.
One of the trees we leave. It used to be the main tree, but now because of this house, it's a secondary tree in the living room. Once Christmas is over, and usually we leave it up to the Epiphany, so January 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Take down the main tree, the other trees. Then I take all the ornaments off the one. I make that a Mardi Gras tree, so it's all Mardi Gras ornaments.
Fun.
Then Mardi Gras is over. I have a bunch because we used to have more in bigger houses. We'd have up to 5 full-size trees. I have all these Irish ornaments. So then I make a St. Patrick's Day tree. So one tree is up in our house till mid-March.
That's awesome.
And then I feel sad when it's gone. And I love because I hate putting the stuff up and I hate taking it down.
Oh,
but man,
think that's my problem.
I love sitting and looking at it.
I think that's my problem because I know I do a majority of the work to get it up and get it down, and I just want to get it over with. Yeah. And I love Christmas. Like, I love everything about Christmas. I love to celebrate. I love to go do all the stuff. I don't want to put it up in my house because I think it's just the amount of effort that it takes.
It does take a lot of effort.
It does. It's like a full day. It really like to put it up and put it down or more.
My life got much easier when we went to pre-lit trees.
Yeah, because you don't have to string the lights.
And Christmas when I was growing up was always very stressful because my dad hated it because his mom died right around Christmas when he was 13, so he hated it. My mom ended up doing all the work, and because we were lazy, she didn't want us to help, but we didn't really help either. And it was a nightmare going to pick out the tree, a nightmare helping my dad put the tree in the stand with her standing in the dining room, making sure it was perfectly straight. And then, God forbid there was any little dark spot, the lights all had to be redone. And I adopted that, and it was
we have
lighting
10 seconds here.
All facts, no fiction. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
7:06 right now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Civic Media Network. My name is Jamie Martinson.
Good morning. I'm Brian Noonan. Very fitting music to get us into another week. And it's the top of the hour, so that means we have some you need to know.
It's a wake-up call in more ways than one. Time for some you need to know.
That's right. You got to start the week informed, start the day informed. Iran has warned U.S. forces on, today, not to enter the Strait of Hormuz after the president said the United States would, quote, guide out ships stranded in the Gulf by the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran. Trump gave few details of the plan to aid ships and their crews that have been confined to vital waterways and are running low on food or other supplies after more than 2 months into the conflict. I'm shocked that he didn't have many details. We have told the countries that we will guide their ships safely out of these restricted waterways so that they can freely and ably get on with their business, Trump said in a post on Truth Social yesterday. In response, Iran's unified command told commercial ships and oil tankers to refrain from any movement that was not coordinated with Iran's military. We have repeatedly said the security of the Strait of Hormuz is in our hands, and the safe passage of vessels needs to be coordinated with the armed forces. The head of the Forces Unified Command said in a statement, "We warn that any foreign armed forces, especially the aggressive U.S. Army, will be attacked if they intend to approach and enter the Strait of Hormuz." Iran has blocked nearly all shipping into and out of the Gulf, apart from its own, since the start of the war, cutting off about a fifth of the world's oil and gas shipments and sending oil prices soaring by 50% or more. Jamie, I was under the impression, I was told by the administration that the war's over, but then the war's not over. There's a ceasefire, but we're going to go in aggressively into the strait.
This weekend, the president was trying to tell us that there was peace in the Middle East. This doesn't seem very peaceful at all to me, but my definition and his could be different.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yours is based in fact. His is based in, I don't know.
This still feels very much like a war. I mean, that's essentially what it feels like.
They are calling this by a different operational name, though. It's not. It's not the same name, so that's his way of skirting around not getting congressional approval after 60 days by calling this something else, even though it doesn't seem like this is going to work. And they just can't get their message straight. And it becomes painfully obvious every day that this man is led not by fact or reporting or advice from experts. Whatever he feels that day is what it's going to be. And then everybody else is left scrambling, trying to figure it out, and they all have to parrot what he says. And it's 1 minute we're in a war, 1 minute we're not, 1 minute we're going to have a peace. We've talked to them about peace, then it's not a good deal. And the word deal just keeps coming, deal, deal, deal.
This is negotiations. This is diplomatic negotiations. There's no deal here. It's diplomacy, negotiation, because that's what it takes these countries.
And it's not done on social media.
No, and I'm going to say it again because it's worth repeating. There was a deal in Iran. There was a deal. It was working. It was
but
set
the
out
strait
by
wasn't open.
The Obama administration
Yes, it
set
was.
out a
just-
deal.
I was hoping you would contradict me
Yeah.
instead of just letting that facetious statement let people go. Did Brian really not know that it was open?
Everything-
No, it was open.
Everything was working the way it should, set up by the Obama administration. The UN was involved. There were inspections on the nuclear sites. The strait was in fact open. There were no tolls on the Strait of Hormuz. Nothing. It was working the way it was supposed to, and the nuclear program in Iran was not growing under this particular treaty, deal, negotiation, whatever you want to call it. It was on the books and it was working.
But
it's
the more
worth
times
repeating.
the more times you say that, and the more time you repeat facts, they counter with the fallacy that Iran had a nuclear weapon. They were close to a nuclear weapon. And they just keep screaming that louder and louder and louder and more often and more often and more often. And there's some people who believe it, some people who discount all the things you said about the inspections and everything else that are easy to check.
Yes.
But they don't. You want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? Yeah, that's what we want. That's
also
exactly.
told that in June, during that first operation, that all nuclear weapons were completely destroyed. They had no
Their capabilities were obliterated.
So, I mean, and here we are, and it's never going to end, which again was the problem going into the Middle East and what even Republicans were concerned about. Because once you start some sort of effort in the Middle East, you end up getting sucked in, and it is never short term, no matter what this administration wants us to believe.
And here's something else we should all be very worried about. This president gets bored easily. He's like a child. And this did not work out anything like he wanted. He thought he could come in, bully Iran like he bullied Venezuela, and things would just fall. It's not. We're dragging into now we're 2 months in.
2 months, yeah.
His poll numbers are plummeting. People are angry all over this country. So what does he do? Over the weekend, he talks about pulling a battleship up to Cuba. So now we're gonna shift. Oh, hey, let's distract over here. I'm going to talk about taking over Cuba, and then Cuba's leaders get all upset. And so now, does he think we're going to forget that we're at war? Do you think does he believe we're going to forget that gas is now some of the highest it's ever been?
And I can also tell you who's not going to forget that we're at war in Iran.
The Iranians?
They're not going to also forget. So it's a quagmire, and we just are all we can do right now is sit here and watch it play out and hope. And again, I know that this is a deep hope that somebody has enough sense to basically check and balance this particular administration.
Nope, not
but
gonna happen.
I don't see that happening.
There has to be more stuff we need to know than
there
this
is,
guy.
and we're going to bring it closer to home. According to a new analysis that was released by the University of Wisconsin, this was completed. An analysis was completed by a consulting firm, Tripp Umbach. The University of Wisconsin-Madison says that it has contributed billions in statewide economic impact this last fiscal year. Now, the report's total includes $13.2 billion in estimated impact from UW-Madison, which, of course, is the flagship for the universities of Wisconsin. The report also encompasses $13.3 billion in impact from affiliated organizations, including the UW Health System and UW Research Institutions. Now, the tally also includes $12.4 billion from hundreds of what the report refers to as spin-off companies. Those startup companies are rooted in the UW-Madison research, according to the report. Now, included in that list of companies was Exact Sciences, the Madison-based healthcare diagnostics company. Exact Sciences generated roughly $3.2 billion in annual revenue and employed nearly 6,900 people in 2025, according to this report. In calculating the economic impact, the consultants looked at the university's spending on operations as well as spending by students, faculty, and staff, and also by visitors to the university. They also considered how much UW-Madison and its affiliates generated in local and state tax revenue. Additionally, the total impact includes full and part-time jobs at UW-Madison, along with indirect jobs, including people who work for a supply chain connected to the university. This report's release comes as the Trump administration is cutting federal research funding to universities and other institutions. It follows years of debate about how much funding state lawmakers should allocate to the state's public university system. In fiscal year 2025, UW-Madison got $609.4 million in revenue from the state. This report was paid for by the Wisconsin Foundation and Alumni Association. That is a nonprofit that fundraises on behalf of UW-Madison. I mean, when you think about the impact that our university system has in this state, it is local businesses, healthcare systems, supply chains, tourism from visitors and students, thousands of jobs directly and indirectly. And if you flip that, when funding gets cut, especially that federal research funding, which is obviously already happening, we're starting to see the ripple effect of that. Less research money can mean fewer breakthroughs that turn into companies, fewer high-paying jobs across the state, less innovation that stays right here in Wisconsin, and potentially some sort of brain drain where we see talent, which this is true, and we are seeing it, that starts leaving the state.
Oh, we see it a lot in many fields. Teaching, we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are educated here and trained to be teachers leave. And you're going to get that with all sorts of different fields. So good for, we think about, how much do we spend if we go to a game or how much, but as you mentioned, it ripples all throughout the economy. So good on them. Something else you need to know, the makers of the abortion pill mifepristone have filed an emergency appeal at the Supreme Court. Saturday they did that, urging the justices to pause a lower court ruling that temporarily blocked Americans from accessing the drug through the mail. The fast-track case, filed with conservative Justice Samuel Alito, puts the drug and the issue of abortion back on the high court's docket less than 2 years after the justices rejected a similar challenge, a decision that allowed the drug to remain widely available. Now, the Rush appeal comes a day after the conservative Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals reinstated a nationwide requirement that the medication be obtained in person, undermining access to the method of abortion that has grown more widespread since the court overturned Roe v. Wade, which was the precedent that established a constitutional right to abortion. Now, the lower court ruling said that it injects immediate confusion and upheaval into a highly time-sensitive medical decision. Danco Laboratories is the manufacturer of this. They said that they urged the Supreme Court to issue an administrative stay that would immediately pause the Fifth Circuit's decision. It also urged the Supreme Court's to take up the case on its merits. Gen Biopro is the maker of the generic version. They filed a separate emergency application later. Here's a little bit of background on this. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, women have been able to obtain mifepristone, one of the two drugs in the medication abortion regimen, through telehealth appointments. Now, President Biden's administration finalized the rules that ended the requirement that the pills be obtained through in-person doctor's visits in 2023 after the Supreme Court overturned Roe. So once again, ladies, the government wants to decide your health care. And I don't care if you're pro or con, where you stand on the abortion issue. A woman's choice is a woman's choice. What she does with her health is up to her and her doctors. It is not up to the government. And it is infuriating that just like the Supreme Court has now chipped away at people's voting rights, they continue to try to chip away at the courts try to chip away at women's rights. And Jamie, this must make you. Well, I can't speak for you. How do you feel about the courts
This
once
is
again
ridiculous.
limiting?
This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Access was already limited. And so when you start removing this telehealth and this mail access, you're not just changing convenience. You're realistically changing who can get care at all. You're talking about women in rural parts of Wisconsin. You are talking about people without reliable transportation, women who can't afford to take time off work to actually get to the doctor. And sometimes you just need privacy because we don't know what has caused somebody to need this medication.
Right, and you're still talking to a doctor, whether you're on the phone or on a telehealth appointment or in person, you're still getting medical advice.
Yes.
So, yeah, crazy. Well,
So
on that
much
note,
more I could say.
there is. Maybe we skip Swipe or Stay? No, Frank would be even madder than he is already. It's Daybreak on the Civic Media Network. Yeah, we're late today, Parker. It's Monday.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We're trying. We're
It's
trying.
just the vibe today.
We're trying, buddy. Holy cow, I had way too much in the this you need to know.
I noticed that. I was like,
Well,
I would love
I
to
added
hit all
the
of them.
Iran story this morning because that was new. It was breaking.
He has
So
a lot
I
to
was
say.
There was a lot
got
to
a lot
say.
to say.
How are you feeling? Is it just a cold or like I
It's a
notice your
cold.
nose is even red.
Yeah.
Dude, there's nothing going on up here. The only thing more blocked than the Strait of Hormuz are my sinuses.
Good morning.
Hey-o, good morning. Hey.
Fantastic. Frank.
I could smell my coffee being made. I tasted the first sip. I taste nothing now.
Oh,
I got
do you have
nothing.
COVID?
Do you have the
No,
vid?
this happens to me every time.
Okay.
Every time what?
Ever since I was a kid,
Yeah.
there's at least one day where I'm sick, where I don't
it's your
smell or
taste
taste
buds.
anything
Oh,
Your taste buds get weird.
because my sinuses are completely blocked
Yeah.
off.
Zoinks.
Yeah. I get that. I've had
Good
sinus
times.
surgery and stuff, so
But he's still got his fancy coffee cup.
I thought today
a
was
man
a
has
hot.
to be refined, even in sickness.
Does.
in light of that, we'll probably cancel our producer meeting today.
I would appreciate that.
Of course. Then you can rest. I'll do it after the show.
And our pre-record's at 10, right? So you'll be done by 10:30, Frank.
Yeah.
Then you
Put a
can
couple
rest.
things in that tomorrow, if you're feeling better, you can look at for guests. It's about raw milk.
Interesting.
And we definitely need an ag person to talk about
Yeah.
raw milk, or a scientist. I know Pam Yankee hates raw milk. Thinks it's irresponsible.
It is irresponsible.
It is.
It is. I know it is.
Yeah.
We've got 10 seconds till we're back.
I hope this is an angry edition.
Let's break out of the bubble and see what's happening out there in pop culture. It's Swipe or Stay on Daybreak.
7:22 right now. We hope that your morning is going well so far. Thank you for joining us on the Civic Media Network. Well, it is time for Swipe or Stay. This
Yay.
is where we don't talk politics for a mere 7 minutes, and instead we look at pop culture instead with our senior producer, Frank. Are you hanging in there this morning?
I am hanging in there on my,
Okay.
I think, 2 hours of sleep.
Oh, yikes.
That's the worst part about being sick.
Yeah, you can't
I
sleep.
can't breathe.
But you
Everything's
want to.
dry. Yeah.
But you want to more desperately. I've been there, done that. So hopefully you
Yeah.
can get some rest, though, today.
It sucks. But we're going to truck right
Soldier
on through.
on, Frank. You could do it.
Hell yeah, brother.
Perseverance.
We're going to play Swipe or Stay. I'm going to read some pop culture headlines of what happened over the weekend. Brian and Jamie are going to have to decide whether they want to stay on it or swipe on to the next one. In the event of a tie, Parker gets to be the tiebreaker.
Ooh.
So story number 1. Former NBA executive sentenced to prison time.
Ooh,
Wow.
stay.
Yeah, I'll stay.
I say, came out of the gate swinging. So, ex-Atlanta Hawks Vice President of Finance, Lester T. Jones Jr., has been sentenced to more than 3 years in prison after embezzling $3.7 million in team money.
That'd do it.
That'll do.
And charging luxurious vacations and jewelry purchases to the company credit card.
Nice. You need some bling. If you're going on a nice trip, you got to have the bling.
So,
How much
U.S.
more
Attorney,
than 3 years?
Yeah.
Because is 3 years 100 or is 3 years 3 years and 2 days?
U.S. Attorney Theodore Hertzberg said Jones turned his dream job as a high-ranking executive for the Atlanta Hawks into an opportunity to steal the team's funds, purchasing luxury apparel, jewelry, watches, and trips for himself. But for Jones and others who abuse their employer's trust to embezzle substantial funds, the gravy train's final destination is federal prison.
Wow.
What a statement.
Wow.
Look, folks, if that doesn't get your juices flowing here on a Monday morning, I don't know what does.
Yeah, so put those office supplies down because your
That's
gravy
right.
train is ending in jail.
No staples for you.
Now, for those who follow Chicago politics, and in this rare instance, I think a lot of people followed this one because it was so funny. Brian, does the name Tiffany Henyard ring a bell?
Sure. Yes. Not
This
Chicago suburban politics, but yes.
This reminded me very much of that.
There's
a lot of charges on the credit card, but this one wasn't Wayfair and first class to Vegas.
No, she had. But yes, politicians and executive and just regular everybody. Just because you're not stealing $3 million from your company, that goes on a lot.
Yeah,
Oh,
but as we know, the gravy train stops in prison.
Amazing.
It's a great quote.
It's so good. Story number 2, country-ish music star cancels tour dates.
Stay.
I'm going to swipe.
Yeah, I'm going to swipe.
Okay.
Frank's always so disappointed when we swipe.
No, it was
Even though the game is set up
Wisconsin-centric, but who cares? It's fine.
It's what?
It's Wisconsin-centric, but who cares?
What? How would we know? We only know the
I
headline.
don't... Look,
How
I don't want
about
to be a local show.
Wisconsin?
That's on you.
How do we know that it's local? If you change the headline to Wisconsin-centric country artist, then we'll stay. But
Brian, I don't want to hear excuses.
I don't want to hear that story.
Clearly. Late NASCAR driver at the center of crime investigation.
I like crime and going fast because if you're not first, you're last. Ricky Bobby, I'll stay.
Stay.
So, do we remember Greg Biffle?
I remember that name vaguely.
The name is familiar, yes.
So, he and his family died in a plane crash last year, December 18th. So, now it's coming out that less than a month after that tragic incident happened, investigators are saying that 2 of the family's friends have conspired to break into their empty house, took cash, guns, and financial information in an attempt to steal hundreds of thousands of dollars from the deceased family.
Wow.
What scumbags.
More than 40 search warrants have been issued, focusing on a married couple who allegedly knew Biffle and his wife Christina. As of right now, nobody can release exactly because nobody's been charged with anything. So we don't know the exact identity of these 2.
And these were family friends? Like friends, air quotes?
Allegedly.
Wow.
Frank, let me ask you a question. Where's this gravy train ended?
Federal prison, baby.
Nice. All right, we got time for one more, Frank.
Not only that, but man, what a scumbag. All right.
Yeah.
Disney announces casting update for future live action adaptation.
Swipe.
I'm going to stay because I feel like I need a little Disney this morning.
Well,
I just want to know what they're making another live adaptation.
Well,
of.
how they're going to ruin an animated
Parker, are you
classic.
staying?
I'm staying, Frank.
That's fair. Okay.
Disney has announced some names for the upcoming live action Tangled movie.
Oh.
Why? That's so new. Okay.
That's Parker's favorite. That's what he's basing his beard on.
Andor star Diego Luna and WandaVision star Catherine Hahn have both been cast in the project. The role has not been specified yet for Diego Luna. However, Hahn will play the villainous Mother Gothel. Tegan Croft and Milo Manheim will star as Rapunzel and Flynn Rider. No release date has been announced for the project yet. And like Parker pointed out, this movie first came out in 2010.
Yeah, we don't need these live action remakes.
Tired of adaptation.
Also, hot take, if you think it is, top 3 Disney princess movie of all time.
Oh,
That's Swipe or Stay.
Really?
Of all
Yeah.
time. Okay.
I
right.
can't.
Rapunzel's Tangled is elite. It's better than Frozen.
Really?
Said what I
Wow.
said.
I loved Tangled. I love Tangled.
Tangled's
It was one of my
so good.
favorites. It was really good.
Well, Frank, thanks. Always fun. Swipe or Stay every
Thanks.
morning at 7:20 right here on Daybreak. When we come back, there's a new Democratic gubernatorial candidate in Wisconsin. What does that mean for the rest of the Democrats? We'll get to all of that and more. This is Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson. It's 7:29, and this is the Civic Media Network.
Yeah, no, letting us know afterward that it has a Wisconsin tie.
I was just giving you
That's
digs.
not fair, man.
The Wisconsin date was not canceled. I just wanted
Was
to.
Who
that
is it?
Was that Malone? Post
It was
Malone?
Post Malone.
Yes,
knew
because
it was
Jelly
Post
Roll's being a jerk. He's a
Oh, is that why?
MAGA punk.
But the thing is, most of the tour dates that were canceled were very much in deep red territory.
Yes.
We're talking like North Carolina. We're talking Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, oh, Chicago was canceled. Milwaukee is still going, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
He will be at Summerfest, June 27th.
Maybe
Let me
Jelly,
check.
Jelly
was
Roll or
just
Post?
Post.
Okay.
Maybe Jelly Roll's just unhappy he gained some weight back. Still trying to get over
His
it.
daughter just won prom queen.
Queen, I saw
Is
that.
she?
good for
Why did you see that, Jamie? Are you reading pop culture stories?
No, it came
Yes.
across my feed.
Yes. Anyway, with Post Malone, if you want to go see him at Summerfest, the entire 300 level of the amphitheater is basically completely open.
Open.
Really?
Yeah, the cheapest ticket. You want to know why you're not selling tickets, my guy?
It's
The
so
cheapest seat's
expensive.
$118
Yeah.
to be in the lawn.
Yeah.
For Post Malone. Not even like OG Post Malone. We're talking like country Post Malone.
Yeah, no, pass.
Yeah.
I'm looking at going to see Guns N' Roses in later in the summer. They're going to be at, and I'm going to sit on the grass. That's $100. But like for Mellencamp, lawn ticket is $40. That's about
Yeah.
right for a lawn
Yeah.
ticket.
Will Axel actually show up? For
That's
Guns
the
N' Roses?
thing. I don't know if I'm going to roll the. I want to roll the dice because if they're back,
He needs the money now. He'll be
Yeah.
there.
He does.
if not all the originals, obviously, because Heroin has claimed one, two, just one.
Did it?
One's
One's
One, I
dead.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Adler that's
yeah,
dead?
I think so.
I think
I gotta
Steven
look it
Adler's
up.
dead. Yeah. But anyway, that's like I'll pay $100 to see Guns N' Roses sitting on the grass. That'll be fun. But a lawn seat for $100 is outlandish.
I think
the
they're both alive.
original
Are they?
bassist, what is it? Ol Bike? I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Anyway, he passed away.
Anyway, $100 to go see / play guitar is worth.
That
my
would be
opinion.
yeah. I
That's what you're going for.
right. Yeah.
118 to sit in the lawn for Post Malone.
Country?
No.
No.
Country Post Malone
Country
and
Post
put
Malone.
a country
No.
twist on his old stuff.
Country
No.
Joe and the Fish? Maybe. Country Post Malone? Never.
No.
Nar.
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 No, are gonna pass.
I never thought. Sorry, I was never a huge Post Malone fan at all.
No.
Yeah, I don't.
Like
I
he's
watched
had-
Saturday Night Live. I knew who Rodrigo was. Well, now I can't remember her first name.
Olivia.
Olivia Rodrigo. I knew she was a singer. I had no actual experience with any of her music. She did a nice job with the comedy stuff.
I have seen her, funny enough, and I have never paid to see her. I've seen her 3 times now. She is phenomenal.
Are you stalking her?
No. Just from work. Like,
Oh.
I suppose. Yeah.
And
Now this work.
I can't promise you Olivia Rodrigo. I could promise you a lot of debates.
Boo. Dog.
No, funny enough,
we'll get you to the recombobulation area.
We'll have some gubernatorial debates coming up very soon, I'm sure.
Hey, I'm happy for that chapter in my life.
I don't blame you. It'll be fun. She's only 23. Is that what she said?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
So she's been around since she was a wee lass.
Yeah.
Because she was on like a
a
Disney TV show or something.
Yeah. At Lollapalooza last year, she brought out Weezer.
Oh, nice.
Weezer.
It was
Love Weezer.
Guess what we're coming back with now?
it was awesome.
Olivia Rodweezer.
Ew.
When Dexter first started playing
That's uncomfortable.
When Dexter first started playing drums, the song that Nathan had him work on was Beverly Hills.
Dun dun. Dun dun. Dun dun. Dun
15
dun.
seconds.
Dun dun.
Yes, that.
Hey, it's a great beginner song.
10 seconds.
Local voices, statewide impact. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
7:35 right now. We hope that your morning's going well so far. If you are listening in Appleton and Oshkosh on WISS, or in Wausau on WXCO, or in Hayward on WBZH, we're glad that you decided to join us this morning. My name is Jamie Martinson.
Good morning. I'm Brian Noonan. What do you think the implications are now that Kirk Bangstad has declared that he is running for governor of Wisconsin? Give us a call. Let us know your thoughts. 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. Yeah, we won't bury the lead. Kurt Bangstad, he's a liberal activist. He's the owner of Minocqua Brewing. He is launching a campaign for governor. He has not filed paperwork to launch as of Saturday because he has to collect all kinds of signatures and that kind of thing. But he made the announcement at an event at his brewery in Minocqua days after the FBI and Secret Service interviewed him about a post he made after a gunman tried to enter an event with President Trump, the White House Correspondents' Dinner. So he wants to run, he says, because he didn't hear adequate messaging on the economy or Trump from the 7 Democratic candidates currently in the race. He's used his super PAC to fund lawsuits that would disband the state's private school voucher system and against Republican members of Congress. He's accused them of aiding the January 6, 2021 insurrection at the Capitol. His post on social media the other day got a lot of attention, obviously, from the Secret Service and the FBI. Jamie, you've had some interactions with him in the past. Now that he's entering the campaign, and he put out a message, we'll give you some stuff from his statement, but first blush, what do you think about this?
I think it's already a very crowded Democratic primary, and I think adding another voice into the mix does really nothing for the state of Wisconsin.
Does this dilute Francesca Hong, though? Because it's basically they believe the same far
that's
progressive
what I was going to
thing.
say, which I think is fascinating because she has made appearances on his podcast and things like that.
But she also turned down his his help.
Yeah, she did, and that's the one thing. As I was going through social media this weekend, just seeing people's reaction to this, right? Because this is a somewhat polarizing potential candidate, depending on if the signatures come together. There were some people who were all for it, who were like, "Yes, he's got my vote," because you're right, we're not hearing enough from the other candidates, and these are people who obviously had supported Francesca Hong, even saying so. I supported Francesca up until this moment, and now I'm going to support Kirk Bangstad because he is a person just like me, and he's not a politician. And all it.
Look at the top. What happens when we elect people who have no experience?
Yes.
He part of his blast against Hong was she didn't step up and defend his post strongly enough. So he was offended by that. He then said he went on to he blasted Mandela Barnes for not backing him up. He claimed all these other politicians are just looking to see which way the wind is
because
blowing.
Political violence condoned in any way, shape, or form
Yes.
is wrong. Which
who
is why
gonna
none of them stepped up to defend him.
Exactly. Because you are in the wrong on this one, sir. We cannot celebrate violence. Even if you do it, I don't know if he was even trying to be tongue in cheek with the free beer day. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. In this day and age, people are so on edge.
If the Secret Service and the FBI literally come to ask you questions, right? I mean, let's be realistic. If they literally come to ask you questions because they felt like there was some sort of threat towards the president of the United States, then you have probably stepped too far. I don't care who that president is.
This is nothing
wrong.
new, though, right? That we've always had that. You always knew if you made some sort of. Now you can speak out against the president's policies. You can say he's doing a horrible job. You can say he's an orange buffoon. You can say all of those things. What you can't say or call for someone else to do is make a threat on their lives. That is
right.
You can't do it, and you shouldn't be able to do it. And common sense says you wouldn't do it, but when you do, it's incumbent upon the Secret Service and the FBI to look into you. This is not persecution.
What bothers me most about this, and I'll be realistic, I don't know who's going to end up winning the Democratic candidacy for governor going into the midterms because it is so crowded. And really, when you look at the polling, I understand Francesca Hong has the lead right now, according to the last Marquette polling. It is still a very neck-and-neck race.
Yeah.
It is so close. And 65% of people in the last Marquette polling were undecided because they have not been engaged in this particular race at all. As we get closer to the primaries, in August, I think that changes. August 7th are the primaries where we actually decide who the candidate going into that election is against Tom Tiffany. I think that's all going to change as things tighten up and the calendar gets closer. Right now, though, people just are not paying attention.
We're burned out. We've got so much on our plates.
Elections in this state, too. We have so many elections in this state. It is so hard to keep up with it. I mean, by the time we get to the August 7th primary, that is our third election in 2026 already.
Yeah.
That's
it's
insanity.
Ridiculous. People don't want to have to be engaged that much. We want to be engaged. We definitely care, but at some point it's overkill and you're like, I need a break. Give me a few months without somebody campaigning, somebody knocking on my door, somebody putting out a commercial.
It's constant campaigning in the state of Wisconsin. And I mean, and I think that's what it bothers me the most about this is that it is such a crowded field. And Tom Tiffany is basically the clear Republican frontrunner. He has gotten the endorsement from the president. There's no real primary fight there. There's no internal division. It is essentially his campaign building their message, raising money, and focusing on November. On the Democratic side, it's wide open, right? There, and according
now, if he gets the signatures, that's going to be eight people.
Well, it's actually more than that. There are seven main people. There are seven main people. There are two. I don't want to diminish anybody's campaign because it's hard to muster up the courage to run. Yeah, and to get the signatures and actually get on the ballot. But they are the more second tier. So this would actually be 9 or 10. Candidates who have thrown their hat into the ring to be the next Democratic governor of Wisconsin, or at least, run for the next Democratic governor of Wisconsin.
And I get all of them think they would do a good job.
Sure.
But let's be honest, they're not all going to do a great job. So I don't know how we get through the noise to find, even if there were 3, 10 is ridiculous.
Still a lot.
It's like, come on, we gotta. And Democrats do this all the time. We want to put everybody gets a chance. Everybody gets to run. And if you want to run, that's fine. I'm not saying we limit how people who run, but there comes a time as it begins to get closer. There need to be internal conversations amongst the campaigns to say, all right, listen, let's figure this out. Let's look at our opponent. We know it's going to be Tom Tiffany. We also know that Democrats have used the same messaging. So let's figure out messaging that is palatable, not perfect, but palatable to everybody. And you can come on the administration some other way. We got to figure this out.
And here's why this is bad for the state, right? When you've got that many candidates running, it's very possible that whoever wins that primary is going to win by a razor-thin margin and not going to have broad support across the party. And we've seen what happens when those circumstances play out. Fractured coalitions and voters who don't feel excited about the nominee. And with Wisconsin being such a swing state, even in our own state politics, any small drop-off in enthusiasm can essentially change the entire election. So for me, there's a bigger concern about when a race like this gets so crowded, people are going to, and candidates start looking at, it feels like people aren't as concerned about what's best for Wisconsin, right?
It's what's best for my identity as a
and it's a personal
party
campaign.
member.
It becomes more of a personal campaign, and it feels more like a vanity project that's fueled by money and attention, at least in my view. You just see more ads, there's more noise, there's more messaging, but there isn't always a lot of clarity for the people who it matters to the most, which is your voters.
And if you're a campaign that is talking to a very targeted portion of the populace, you are, and this is everybody. I'm not singling anybody out because we'd like to, I want these candidates to present programs, ideas, something else.
Right.
And then whoever wins, I think it's incumbent upon them to adopt some of the good ideas, because there's candidates
There's no purity test. It's not a purity test.
But you got to look, and somebody who you may not agree with might have a good idea. And I go, all right, well, if I took this idea, which I agreed with, and this idea, I can, you should have your own ideas as a candidate, you would hope. But if you can bring some of the other people's ideas in, that will create some excitement, because then you're not disenfranchising all the people who worked hard up until the primary to get their candidate elected and discounting everything they had to say. You can say, hey, candidate X's people, I listened to candidate X, and I've decided I'm going to implement this. If I'm in, I'm going to take that idea and implement it, and then you build excitement that way, because nobody's perfect, and that's a downfall of the Democrats. We've talked about it many times. It's either fall in love and get married, or boom, we have to have the whole package.
That's the one thing that Republicans do really, really well.
Republicans don't care.
Even if they don't like the candidate, they're always going to coalesce around that candidate, and they're going to support that candidate no matter what. And Democrats, in the meantime, spend months competing with each other instead of building exactly what you're saying, some sort of coalition or a shared message going into an election. And if that competition turns too negative or it becomes too drawn out, that's lasting damage on that particular race. And I know it was bigger stakes in 2016, but I don't really feel like it was. When you look at what happened between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton going into that particular election, it's the same concept we're seeing play out here. And here's the thing: if people decide, because of this sort of animosity in their own party, if people feel like they can't actually support that person who wins, then, you're going to essentially end up with a Republican governor who lives in the light of Donald Trump.
Well, here's the thing. Republicans are very good at heeding the words of Crosby, Stills, and Nash. You can't be with the one you love the one you're with. And that's the Democrats need to adopt that mentality. Yeah, your candidate might not be the one, but what's more important? And it goes back to your point, Jamie, was this a personal campaign, or was it a campaign to protect Wisconsin and the values of the Democratic Party? If it's the latter, then you back whoever it is and you push to get them elected. And then you try to get your candidates' ideas in through different ways, through your alders, through your state reps, all of that. But if you're waiting for Prince Charming or Princess Charming, they're not coming, folks.
They're not your bestie. I say it all the time to people. You're not electing your best friend, somebody you're going to have drinks with and go to coffee with. You are essentially electing the person who can do the best job for you and for the voters and for your state or your country, depending on your election.
Taking a little breather, Wisconsin landmark becoming a Lego set. We will talk about that and more. This is Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson. It is 7:48. You are listening to the Civic Media Network.
All right.
Boop,
Democrats with the
boop.
purity tests. Alicia, candidates are like like a bus. They will give you they will get
Yes,
you
very
get you
good.
close
That's
to
a
where you
great
want to go,
analogy.
not an Uber. Yes, no, that's I love
Yeah.
that. That's
I still have to
perfect.
walk a couple blocks when I get off the bus. Very good analogy,
It's a
Alicia.
great
Very good.
analogy. I
That's
love
spot
that.
on. Yeah.
We're going to steal it. No.
I just the purity tests within the Democratic Party are just
We're so precious, the Democrats. We're so precious.
well, no, Democrats truly are precious because they are really, honestly, I don't disagree with the Republicans when they call Democrats snowflakes because there's
Yeah.
a lot of them who are.
Well, I mean, the biggest snowflake is in the Oval Office.
Of course.
Fire this man. He made a joke about me. Okay.
But, and I had this conversation with a good friend the other day who is uber progressive. She and I do not match on politics on a lot of things. And she asked me about the Wisconsin gubernatorial race. And she goes, because she from afar, I have no pony in this race right now. I'll support whoever wins the primary, right?
Right.
And she goes, so what do you think would you support Francesca Hong? I said, well, of course. I said, I don't agree with her on some things.
Right.
But I said, at the same time, I believe that whoever the candidate is who you support because of the fact that otherwise you're left with what is essentially somebody who lives in the light of Trump, just like I said. And I said, it's interesting to me, though, because I said, if you were in Wisconsin and I said you had to vote for somebody who wasn't a progressive, would you be able to do that? And she couldn't answer my question because in 2016, she didn't vote for Hillary Clinton when Bernie lost.
Wow.
She couldn't
That was
couldn't do it.
one of my buddies was the guy who works with me on Crafty Brewers. Yeah, he was all in on Bernie.
She also couldn't vote for Kamala. So she didn't actually vote in 2024 because Kamala wasn't progressive enough for her.
Then
I said, so why do I, as more of somebody who might be more centrist, have to live under a purity test for you, but you can't do the same as a progressive for the centrists?
wow. See.
And she had no answer to that.
I don't understand how people don't comprehend that electing a more centrist coming off of a right candidate. How do you not go to more center as a stepping stone to get to the more progressive what you want?
Because
you can't go from 0 to 100.
And both parties, I'll be
Yes.
clear for anybody listening on the stream, both parties have the same issue.
Yeah. We have about 10 seconds here.
Wow. I have no words for your friend.
Across the state of Wisconsin, Daybreak with Brian and Jamie is back.
7:52 right now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. A beautiful day in store for most of Wisconsin. Upper 60s to upper 70s, depending on where you're at. High pollen count, too, which is important to point out for all those allergy sufferers like myself. But cooler temperatures for a majority of the week once we get past today. Because, Mother Nature, she doesn't care. She's going to do whatever she wants. It's 7:52. My name is Jamie Martinson.
Good morning. I'm Brian Noonan. What Wisconsin landmark would you like to see as a Lego set?
This is such a fun question.
Fun question. 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. Which Wisconsin landmark would you like to see as a Lego set? The reason I ask is because there is a chance that Lambeau Field will become a Lego set. So we know Lego does a lot of different kinds of sets. They control the Star Wars ones, but ones you've seen them like a gumball machine or a cat Or I've got one. I've got one that's the love sculpture.
Yeah.
And Molly, my daughter, has one that was like an orchid in a
That's
pot. Cool. Yeah, those are generated by people like you and I, people who are just Lego aficionados. They're big fans and they want to do it. So now a man called Cody Brunel, he goes by CJ Bricks on social media. He has designed an idea for Lambeau Field to be immortalized as a Lego set.
Love it.
And it is gaining momentum for a potential review by the Lego company, which can be done by reaching a supporter threshold on the website within specific time frames. So how it works is you send in an idea, and Lego looks at it, and some of them, they just go, nah, what are you kidding? A Lake Geneva? It's just a lake. We don't want that.
Right.
So they send it away. But some, they say, aha, perhaps it is. So then they approve the IP and they let you know. And then maybe they give you some suggestions on what you can do. But then once they approve it, it goes to supporters and you have to get a certain number. And if you hit that number, then all of a sudden, boom, they make your idea.
That's awesome. It's awesome.
And you'd think, oh, this guy must be a big Packers fan. No. He's a Broncos fan. He's never actually been to Lambeau. That's why his first couple ideas got shot down because people on the internet were like, that's not anything like Lambeau. So he kept doing it. And after a couple tries, now he's at the point where it looks pretty cool.
Well, at least he can understand the iconicness of Lambeau Field.
Yes.
But as of April 30th, by the way, the Lego Lambeau idea reached about 1,700 plus supporters, and that's under a month after Brunel submitted it on April 1st via his Night Smart mini beard account on Lego Ideas.
He stole your handle, Parker.
Hopefully he has as good of a beard as you. I started thinking about this, though, and there are so many really cool things that you could do with Wisconsin.
Yeah.
How about a Quick Trip or a Culver's? I think that would be
that would
iconic.
be good.
I even thought about like a supper club where and I picture it as a supper club with the old fashioned sign out front and little cars and all of that kind of stuff. Or maybe even like something for the EAA in Oshkosh where you have a bunch of little planes on like a runway or something. I think that'd be really cool.
The House on the Rock might be a good one.
The House on the Rock would be great.
Yeah.
The world's tallest grandfather clock in Kewanee would be really cool. I like
our
that
own
as
Frank
well.
sending the message. The Fawn statue
I
Lego
have
set.
that
That's
on
a
my
good
list
one.
Too. I have
That's
that
a
on
good
my
one.
list as well. That would be good. I mean, there's several things. Or how about Devil's Doorway out at Devil's Lake State Park, which is that really cool rock formation that you see. And that would
What about
be
the Art
maybe
Museum
something.
in
There you
Milwaukee?
go, because that's a really cool shaped building. So that
State
would be
Capitol,
really neat.
right
I was
here
just
down
gonna
the
say
street.
State
Parker,
Capitol.
get working on that.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get on it.
I mean, there's several things that I think you could do with Wisconsin.
The
in this
muskie.
one.
The
a
big muskie. That's why I was
Yeah.
trying to think of what kind of fish. I didn't want to say the big fish. I was trying to remember
Big
what
fish.
kind of big fish it was.
We just
it's a
learned
giant
about
muskie.
Thanks to one of our avid online listeners, we learned about the pink elephant in
Yes.
DeForest the other day on Friday. So that might be another
It's
good
another
one.
good one. That is another-
Breweries,
There's a
craft
lot of
beer,
things.
so much stuff.
My buddy's son is, I think he's in kindergarten, first grade. He loves Legos. And for Christmas, we got him 2 little sets. And I thought, oh, this will take. He finished them both in like 20 minutes. I was like, oh man, because now and my niece has made some huge elaborate sets, and they're
My
beautiful.
kids had those.
Yeah, because they come with all the the instructions. It takes away a little bit of the creativity, but you are still building, and you do have to follow directions. And
Sure.
so I think it's all great. It's come
where
a
I
long
always
way
got
from when we
screwed
would
up.
just make stairs out of.
That's all. That's where I got always
all I could
screwed
do.
up helping my kids because
Yeah, I
it
could
was
just-
like, oh, I've got to actually follow this step-by-step direction thing.
Yeah, no.
I don't get to just do what I want. And yeah, but you're right.
Let's
I never
make a
had
house.
Houses. I never
It's
had
all walls.
roofs.
I couldn't do roofs because how am I going to make the angles? So it was just a walled. It was a fort basically. Make a fort.
was like
A
a
tower
square
that
house.
then you'd knock over.
With
I was
one
not.
window and barely a door.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, how come these aren't level? I don't know, because I'm not a master carpenter. That's why. Because I'm not an engineer.
My dad hated doing Legos with me because my dad was a master carpenter and a draftsman. So he hated doing Legos with me because I was the very creative kid. I just wanted to put whatever. And my dad would be there going, start with a good foundation. I was like, what are you talking about?
Now, see, and I'm old enough to remember it was just the blocks. There were no angles. There were no little people. There was nothing. It was rectangles. Some small squares, mostly rectangles. Maybe if you had the dough, you had the green base where you could build it. If not, I was trying to build things on the carpet.
Do you know what I used to do for my kids? I used to go to the secondhand kids stores in the town we lived in, and they would sell me 5-pound bags of Legos for like $10.
Oh, nice.
Just the assorted random pieces that people had collected over the years. They'd put them into these 5-pound bags, and then you'd walk out for like $10-15 with all of these Legos. My kids had buckets
Legos
of
are
Legos.
expensive.
They are.
When we come back at the top of the hour, more as you need to know. MDX listeners, we will talk to you tomorrow unless you come to the stream with us or on the Civic Media app. It's Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson. It is 7:59. This is the Civic Media Network. Tom in New
Parker,
Berlin.
I can hit 7:59:59. I can hit 59:59.
You get a gold star.
Sometimes I don't know.
Tom in New Berlin says if it's a supper club, it's either Club 45 or 41. I don't know what that means.
Are those two specific clubs?
I don't know. Maybe.
I only know what's the one on that's advertised all the time? The big
Ishnala.
Yeah, Ishnala.
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about
talking about this summer. We got to do an Ishnala.
They've been open now for over a month.
Have they really? It's a little cold to be sitting out on the water, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you can sit inside.
Yeah.
I went sit outside with my drinks on a 40-degree day. Right.
I was going to say, doesn't that take away some of the fun of it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't want to sit outside to eat, but I want to.
No.
I want a couple old fashions down by the water.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, you can't sit outside to eat. They don't even have outside seating except in the level bars just for the drinks.
That's fine. I don't love
Did I ever tell you, I remember, I think I told you guys this, the one night, we went on their closing day a couple years ago, and we got there, right at 4 o'clock, and we still had to wait for a couple hours to get in. And as we were leaving, there was a couple who pulled up in their pickup, and they had
tailgated.
They tailgated with a propane gas pit because they knew they were going to be waiting for so long.
Oh, wow.
So they brought lawn chairs and a propane gas pit, and they pulled it out of their car after they got their name on the list with their little buzzer. And then they sat out in the parking lot, I'm assuming most of the night, because they got there at 6 and the line was out through the parking lot.
Yeah.
So,
till the next day.
There was one time we went, there was a big event happening in Sauk County. It was like the art farm tour that they do every couple of years, where they do these huge art installations on farmland, and then you tour around with a map. It's so much fun.
Yes, I remember talking about that before.
It's always a ton of fun. And we went there with one of our storm chasers was here from Oklahoma. And we just happened on a whim to go to Ishnala at 5 o'clock. And we got our name on the list at 5:02. And at 9:36, we finally got a table.
Jesus. And they don't take reservations ahead of time,
No.
Holy smokes.
You just sit there and wait and drink and eat a cheese curd and hope to hell somebody vacates a table so you can sit down somewhere.
Wow. So this is not a supper club is not a spur of the moment decision.
Not at
hey, let's go to
Ishnala.
the supper club.
Not that one.
Not at Ishnala. No, it is. You are dedicated at Ishnala.
Wow.
We usually try to get there right when they open, and even then, you're probably going to have to wait for a little bit. Because
so it'd be like concert tickets where,
yes.
if you could...
Like the old-fashioned ones where you used to wait in line.
Right. So, if we all threw, $20 in for Parker to go up there at 2 and just wait in line.
If you'll pay me, I'll do it.
I think they open at, I think you can start usually putting your name on the list around 3:30 or 4.
You pay me, I'll do it.
All right.
I'd have to look it up. I don't remember, so.
I accept payment in beer.
All right.
Yeah,
an old-fashioned?
It's
not a big old-fashioned guy.
Actually, I don't know if you can do that. I think your whole party has to be there in order
to put your name in.
I believe so.
I believe it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that everybody would have to be there. Because usually we would go with Dave Grant and his lovely wife, Wendy Grant. And they would usually wait for us to get into the parking lot. They'd be at the door, but then they'd go in and get a name on the reservation while we were out parking. So they could technically say that, yes, the other
They're
half
all
of
here.
our party
Oh,
is here.
just in case they call you first. And
Yes.
Well,
because,
our people aren't
yeah,
here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I like the idea of bringing to tailgate. I like the idea of getting there at like 3:30 and then tailgating.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're waiting for like 5 hours, that's a long tailgate. And I don't know how much I'm going to want to eat prime rib after
it's a long
been drinking
tailgate
for 5 hours.
Well, that's just it. Then you go out like then you can get cheese curds and stuff as your apps as you sit at the bar and wait. But
you can. Oh.
Yeah, they have cheese. They have really great apps too. So people usually get baskets of apps and just sit around the bar and.
Oh, see, now that's fine. But again, then there's a point where I'm like, I'm good. I've had a couple of fashions. I've eaten some apps. All right. I don't know if I need to sit at the table.
It's a full experience.
I know. I can't wait. Every summer, I say to Debbie, let's go to a supper club. And she says, yes, let's go to a supper club. And that's as far as it gets. Because I was like, we could even start in Kenosha at like the Hobnob or something.
Yeah.
And work our way up.
Yeah. No, it is a full experience at Ishnala. And it's beautiful. Mirror Lake is absolutely one of my favorite places on earth.
And man, and they advertise everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
I used to, we lived obviously close to Devil's Lake and Mirror Lake. Mirror Lake was literally a 10-minute drive from our house. Some of the best hiking trails ever. So Aspen and I, during the summer, were out there pretty much every single day. And Ishnala is actually grandfathered because Mirror Lake is a state park. But Ishnala is such a staple, it's grandfathered onto the state park grounds.
Really?
Because it was there before it became a state park.
We were here first.
Yeah, essentially. And who's going to move Ishnala? I mean, can you imagine? Ishnala alone brings in so much income to the state and to the county. There's no way that the state was going to be stupid enough to be like, we're going to make you move.
Well,
don't test them.
Yeah,
right?
10 seconds.
A lot of stupidity.
Wisconsin wakes up here. Back to Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
Thank you so much for joining us on a beautiful Monday morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 right now. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. It's the top of the hour. That means you're starting the day, and we want to give you some you need to know.
It's a wake-up call in more ways than one. Time for some you need to know.
Yes. The first piece of stuff you need to know. Crew members from an Iranian ship seized by the U.S. after trying to breach its military blockade last month have been transferred to Pakistan for repatriation, according to Pakistan's foreign ministry. 22 crew members held aboard the MV Tuska container ship were taken to Pakistan Sunday night and will be handed over to Iranian authorities today, according to the ministry in a statement released this morning. The Iranian ship will also be backloaded to Pakistani territorial waters for return to its original owners after necessary repairs. Pakistan describes the move as, quote, a confidence-building measure by the U.S. and said the repatriation is being coordinated with support of both the U.S. and Iran.
Yeah. Again, as we talked earlier this morning, it certainly doesn't feel like things are slowing down in the Middle East. And it certainly doesn't feel like, again, I know we sound like a broken record, but it certainly doesn't feel like anybody in the Middle East has gotten the memo from the President of the United States that the war's over.
Well, and if the war were over, why would he need to start another mission to skirt the congressional approval for a war that ran out the other day? So a lot of conflicting messages, as always, coming out of this administration. But the hard fact is we are still at war, a war of choice. We are still paying the cost for that war on a number of fronts, and we will be continuing, even if the war were to end, we will continue to pay the price for this war for months, if not the next year. So there's that.
In other headlines, as we bring things closer to home, stuff you need to know, efforts to relieve high water levels after mid-April storms flooded communities in the Green Bay, Appleton, and Oshkosh areas have closed the port of Green Bay for 2 weeks, causing a mounting economic impact on key industries. The Army Corps of Engineers in mid-April opened the dam gates on Lake Winnebago to relieve high water levels after major storms dumped record rainfalls across the massive Fox Wolf watershed. The outflows increased the water velocity on the Fox River to speeds that since April 18th have made it unsafe for ships to navigate the port. The Port of Green Bay director said that the entire watershed got so much rain it created one-of-a-kind conditions on the river and for the port, which generates about $217 million in economic activity every year and supports more than 1,600 local jobs. The unexpected conditions left port terminal operators to scramble for alternative ways to take delivery of raw materials like wood pulp, petroleum products, and cement that are vital to key northeastern Wisconsin industries like paper, construction, and agriculture. At least 4 ships, possibly as many as 10, have diverted to a different port or turned around. Companies that shift deliveries to a different port have to pay to have the materials delivered to Green Bay via trucks. One ship, the Edinburgh, has been docked in the bay for 12 days now, waiting it out, unable to deliver its wood pulp cargo. The Lake Winnebago dam gates could need to remain open, making the port inaccessible for another 10 to 14 days without an alternative solution. I mean, when you're talking about that kind of economic impact, you really hope that this gets alleviated sooner than later, I think, because
and the elevated cost of having to truck stuff with fuel costs for trucks rising at a rapid rate. Again, that's got to add more. So it would mean, as it should, that things are going to start costing more again. If the suppliers have to pay more and the companies have to pay more, they got to make that up somewhere, and it's coming to us.
I mean, we really don't think about, I don't know. I think for a lot of people, we've talked a lot about the supply chain over the last few months in terms of this war in Iran. But when you look at it on a more local level, I don't think we think about the environmental impact that that supply chains can, be overwhelmed by.
Right.
I mean, in this case, it's a flooding or a river running too fast, and obviously that throws everything off, which is just bad for business.
And in a very simple thing, you would think, well, they're ships, they're on the water. A little more water, how's that going to affect the ship? Well, it doesn't affect the ship itself. It affects how the ship gets to port.
Right.
And that's, where it's going to dock. So that's rough.
I think it also highlights how interconnected our economy is in this state, because you're like, oh, it's just coming into Green Bay. It's wood pulp. It's petroleum. No, that's stuff that has to get to other places within the state. It just happens to come into Green Bay.
That's the easiest spot for it to get unloaded.
Yeah.
But All right, some more you need to know. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, you remember her from TV, said that the bullet that struck a Secret Service agent in the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner was, quote, definitely from suspect Cole Thomas Allen's gun. We can now establish that a pellet that came from the buckshot from the defendant's Mossberg pump-action shotgun was intertwined in the fiber of the vest of the Secret Service officer. That was according to Pirro on CNN's State of the Union. USA Today also previously reported that evidence collected so far indicates the only Secret Service agent who actually fired their weapon at Allen was the one who was injured as he tried to prevent what prosecutors allege was an attempted assassination on President Trump. The agent, who has not been identified, fired 5 times but did not hit the suspect. Initial court filings did not specifically allege that Allen shot the agent, though Trump and administration officials have claimed that he did in public comments. Of course, why wouldn't they? That's their go-to. This is interesting and noteworthy because what it shows is the government does not yet have conclusive proof that the suspect did not shoot the agent. That is, according to Mark Lesko, a former U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of New York. He told the BBC that on Friday. Allen, the suspect, currently faces assassination and firearm charges. There may be some more charges filed when he appears before a grand jury on May 8th.
I think this is interesting for multiple reasons, because obviously just last week there was speculation about whether the agent might have actually even been hit by friendly fire.
Yeah.
And then this weekend we find out that the evidence points directly, at least according to Janine Pirro, to the suspect's gun. I mean,
But it's one. See
Right.
what I don't understand, and I what I know about firearms is limited. I will admit
Sure.
that. But I also know buckshot, while it does scatter, there's still concentration of the buckshot. One pellet getting it, that seems unusual to me. And maybe I'm off, but that seems a little unusual. And then an agent firing 5 times and not hitting someone. These guys are really highly trained.
Well, I mean, and that, I think that
And I've
goes
never
back
been
to-
shot at, so
I think that's what goes back to what we talk about, though, right? Who were the agents in the lobby? Because we talked about this after the incident. Were those agents actually Secret Service agents, or were they part of some sort of independent security firm? Those are questions that this administration still hasn't answered. And let's be clear, we're not going to get. I mean, that should be the pause that all of us have on this. Is we're not going to get the full story on this at
never.
all.
Are we going to find out about this canine unit that sniffed and went in the door where the suspect came out of, but was pulled away by his handler? And the new footage that's coming out, we do see that they were breaking down that station. The law enforcement had decided that nobody else was coming through here, so they were they had one magnetometer left up. They had broken down. They were in the process of breaking down one. I don't know how many had been broken down before that.
I mean, and when we look at the type of rhetoric that we already have in this country, anytime we start adding this sort of speculation, it just adds to all of that, right? And
Right.
I think that's what bothers me the most is this administration could quickly put all of that speculation and that rhetoric to rest, but they just choose not to. They absolutely choose not to by not giving out the full details, by not giving the full story, by continually surrounding themselves in some sort of vague mystery.
Well, and part of the problem is
it's
they
infuriating.
jump to conclusions. It is infuriating, but they jump out with first it was, oh, he's dead. Well, he wasn't dead.
No.
The suspect. Then it's he shot the guy. Well, we don't know yet. So they're in such a hurry to make headlines and to get in front of a camera that they don't allow the facts to play out.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? We can wait a few minutes. I
Right.
know in this accelerated news cycle, we don't think that we can wait a few minutes, but I would rather wait and just have the report come out. There's been a shooting, more details to follow. Okay, let's wait for some facts and some details.
Is that part of the ploy? That's where my mind goes. Is that part of the ploy from this administration who likes to surround themselves in this layer of mystery and likes to convey this mistrust among people? Because if you do that and there is this mistrust, then that trickles down to our institutions, law enforcement, the justice system.
Yeah, but the mistrust is aimed at them.
But they don't see it
Isn't
like
this
that.
a backfire?
And for a lot of their base of voters, it is a mistrust of the entire system. Because they believe anything this administration tells them, and this administration, I'm not sure, has learned that doesn't necessarily work with all voters.
Well, it also has to, even for the most ardent MAGA supporters, wouldn't it seem like this would get confusing if 1 minute your hero is telling you one thing, and then he comes out 15 minutes later and tells you something else, and the day later he tells you the exact opposite?
You would think, but they continually try. They believe what this president says. It's been a pattern that we've seen, and that's why earlier this morning when we talked about the polling numbers, where 85% of Republicans still support the president and this administration and their agenda. This is why, because they continually believe what they're being told, even if things change or seem contradictory to other people. And I can't. I wish I could explain it. It's a full.
I wish you could explain it too.
I wish I could explain it. I really do, because I find it a really interesting phenomenon, because I don't know if we've ever seen it to this level with any other president of the United States, of either party, who've been able to lie like this and continually change their story.
And I know, we could talk about cognitive dissonance and people not wanting to believe things that go against their core belief for whatever reason, whether it's they are really true believers, or even if they're not true believers, now they're embarrassed. They don't want to be proven wrong, that maybe they backed the wrong horse, or maybe they're they were lied to. Even if people are lied to, they don't want to turn their back on that liar. They don't want to because then it reflects badly on you, right? If you believe a liar all the time, what does that say about your intelligence, your character, all of that? So it's the internal struggle to not have to be proven wrong.
Right.
And nobody likes to be proven wrong.
No, nobody likes to be proven wrong. We have just about a minute left, and I think this is a big one, especially if you're somebody who loves the outdoors. In other headlines of stuff
I wondered if you were going to try to get to this.
Yeah, we'll get to it really quickly. Wisconsin health professionals are bracing for a bad year for Lyme disease because tick activity is already higher in April than it was at the same time last year. We have a lot of warmer and wetter weather, which can increase the risk of illnesses from ticks because they thrive in warm, humid weather. And something I didn't know about ticks until I moved to the great state of Wisconsin, they can actually survive in temperatures above freezing. They become, in fact, more active when it's about between 45 and 50 degrees.
Yeah.
They don't actually die during the winter. So ticks, darn it, they are always around. So
did I tell you I had one on me last week?
Oh, yeah.
It was
probably mowing the grass.
Gross. All right, when we come back, Jamie's very interested in horses and running, not Frank. We'll talk about the Derby and some other things. It's Daybreak on the Civic Media Network.
I only love this story because of what it represents for women.
It's funny. I saw people commenting about how, how is there any advantage to being a male or a female trainer? It's like, well, no, it's a systematic thing.
It's a very male-dominated sport.
Yeah.
Watching her jumping basically over the rail as he was that horse was coming down the line was like, this woman is jazzed. She is ready to roll.
And then my favorite part of the whole
She's
thing,
very short too.
Yeah, she's not tall.
She could have been the jockey.
We'll talk about it during the segment, but one of my favorite parts is when she was actually interviewing. She's sitting there with her entire family around her, holding her toddler. Yeah. Like she's fine. She's like, this is what I do, So she's got her
job,
kids. Yeah, so she's got her kids with her and stuff, and it was actually... It was a good moment, especially when you watch what's happened in horse racing and how it's just another industry that's become swamped by people doing really awful things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just one of those things where I hope in the next few weeks we don't hear something awful about her.
Like she drugged the horse.
Right, because didn't that happen a couple years ago?
Yes.
There was a winner and then we found out they drugged the horse.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep.
So I was more excited for what it represented than the 2 minutes of the actual horse race. But I always like myself some good pomp and circumstance. So
I love to dress up in a seersucker suit and
who doesn't love a good hat?
Wander around. How you doing? How's all? And I pretend I'm a Southern gentleman.
Right.
I would love to get to the Derby just once.
I would like to see. Yes, I would like to go just once for the history of it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the Masters. It's not. I know it's not the Masters.
Also want to get to that.
Frank is not agreeing. If he hasn't passed out yet from the side effects of being sick.
Yeah, really.
He better not. He's got the third. He's got the last segment.
He's very upset with us right now for us talking about the Derby.
He's probably mad too that we haven't even mentioned that it's May the 4th.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a whole segment on it.
Yeah. It'll be okay.
That's true.
I'll live.
And I don't.
What? 10 seconds.
Wow.
Now back to more of Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's 8:22 right now. Very nicely played, Parker.
Yeah.
That was great.
Kentucky
The
Derby.
horses
has some good
approach
music
the
around it.
gate.
Yeah.
It does. It does have some good music. But yeah, I mean, if you were paying attention to the news this weekend, I know our senior producer, Frank, is not on board with this conversation, but the Kentucky Derby, the 152nd Kentucky Derby, took place at Churchill Downs. And I love anything that has a lot of pomp and circumstance.
I love the
behind it.
tradition of the Derby.
Of course.
I'm not going to say that I follow horse racing all the time, but when I've been to the track, I've had a great time. I don't know how to handicap a horse. I don't know how to bet. I pick by a name and I go, all right, here's $2 to win, or here's a win place show bet. I know what that means. But the Derby has, some history. And as Jamie said, the pomp and circumstance. And yes, I know people dress crazy, but I'm also a Mardi Gras aficionado. So why wouldn't I love a place where I would get to wear a seersucker suit and a beautiful hat, and my wife would wear some sort of ginormous satellite
Walking around
dish
with your mint julep in your hand. And
I would be out of my mind. It's so great.
It is, and there is so much history, and I get with horse racing, especially when you talk about the Kentucky Derby, there's also been a lot of negative headlines that have followed the Derby over the years. There is really in any sports if you look at it. But Golden Tempo actually won the Derby this year, and I just wanted to talk about this because I just thought that this was such a great historic win, especially for the trainer, Sherry DeVoe, because she is the first woman to train a Kentucky Derby winner and just the second woman ever to win any Triple Crown race, which is pretty darn cool.
Pretty
and,
good.
And so she actually talked to the media immediately after the win, and this is what she had to say.
I don't even have any words right now. I just can't. Just so happy for Golden Tempo. Jose did a wonderful job, masterful job at getting him there. Who's so far out of it, and he has had so much faith in this horse.
Then she was also asked about being a female making history, and this was her comment.
I honestly don't know. I'm glad that I could be a representative of all women everywhere, that we can do anything we set our minds to.
She said this as she was surrounded by her family and doing the typical mom thing, holding her toddler and like doing what moms do, right? Like running this business, doing her thing, and she's holding her kid and she's surrounded by her family. And if you watch the video of her, you cannot love Sherry DeVoe.
She was, at one point, she was so excited as this horse comes from nowhere. She was almost falling over the rail. I'm not sure who was standing next to her, if it was another owner or whatever, but like she was jumping up and down in excitement, and it looked like she was going over the rail, and he had to grab her by the back and kind of pull her back down
Did you
to the
watch
ground.
the race? Because
I did not.
My family raised horses. So I don't ever pay that much attention to the Derby, but I always love to watch the videos afterwards. And Golden Tempo, by the way, was a long shot. 23 to 1
23
odds.
to 1, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had bet.
Dramatic comeback. He sat in dead last for a lot of the race, and then all of a sudden he rallied from the back in this 18-horse field.
I couldn't believe it when I did see
2
pictures and videos this morning of it. I was like, he was that far back?
And the jockey, Jose Ortiz, actually earned his first Kentucky Derby victory in his 11th try. He also won the Kentucky Oaks the night before, becoming the first jockey since 2024 to sweep both races in the same year.
Good weekend for Jose Ortiz.
Masterfully run race with Golden Tempo. And I will tell you, as somebody who's been around horses, that is somebody who trusts their horse. Because when you trust your horse and you come from the back like that and you're able to take those outside lanes, that is somebody who trusts every ounce of that horse and knows exactly what that horse is capable of. That's why I found the whole weekend fascinating watching it. It was incredible.
I believe his brother was the jockey for the second place horse as well.
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
Oh, sibling rivalry, too.
There was a little rivalry. And the front runner, Renegade, had a very not great start to this race. He actually hit the rail early. He recovered to make a really strong late push, but that was who Golden Tempo was actually neck and neck with as they came to the line, was the front runner. But it was just amazing. And, to see women out there doing their thing in a very male-dominated...
very exciting.
Yeah, I was excited for Sherry.
Especially on a weekend where more women's rights are being taken away. That's nice.
Yes.
All right, we'll let you train a horse, but the rest of your body you don't get to think about. It is, and see, like Frank earlier, if you weren't here, you can always listen to the podcast. Go to Spotify, look up Daybreak with Brian and Jamie, and you can hear why Frank was so upset with the Kentucky Derby. But yes, I don't think you have to follow racing all the time to
No.
to be excited about this race. Like I said, I used to go to Arlington Park, was a great racetrack. And I would go occasionally. We'd have a few outings during the summer with my friends, and we'd sit in the grandstand. We'd have a beer, we'd smoke a cigar, and we'd watch the races. I know nothing about it, but it was exciting to watch that race and watch those horses. And I got to ride in a sulky race once, in a harness race.
Yeah.
And sitting in that was really cool. So you can like things and not be a diehard fan of it. You can just go, oh, like it crosses your path and go, oh, I'm going to watch this for a minute. Just like the Olympics. I don't follow all those sports, but I'll sit down and watch some Olympic sports. Does that mean I'm, have to be a fan forever of the luge? Following the luge nonstop? No.
In case anybody's wondering, Golden Tempo is a homebred horse, meaning he has come from a home, basically, training facility. He's the son of a 2-time Horse of the Year, though. And DeVoe was very clear that she is not sure if Golden Tempo will run in the Preakness Stakes. They're going to see how Golden Tempo is doing, because this is a hard race. In those 2 minutes, they give it everything they have. So they want to make sure that Golden Tempo is healthy enough to do so. If you saw a video of him on Sunday, though, he was living it up. He had hay hanging from his bales. He was peeking his head out of the stalls at the reporters, just waiting to get a glimpse of him.
He made money, too. He bet on the prediction markets. He was in there. He won.
He deserved the best hay bales money can buy.
Wow. Well, from a good, uplifting story to gerrymandering, we cover it all here on Daybreak, and we will talk about Alabama and Tennessee and the fallout in Louisiana, all gerrymandering all the time. This is Daybreak. This is the Civic Media Network. Parker, bringing the old Kentucky home. Very nice.
Love it. Very nice, Parker.
There's a lot of music to pick from for the Kentucky Derby. It probably is the
Do you know why, Frank? If you're listening, because there's tradition and history.
Oh, boy. Poor Frank. Line of fire, Frankie. Shots fired.
He's either dead right now, or he just doesn't care.
He's too weak. He's saving it all up for his game.
His sinuses are completely clogged. And I don't mean to laugh, because I know how miserable that is.
It sucks, but this is funny for us.
That's right.
Because we feel fine.
That's right.
And he won't be here.
And he's not here to be upset about it. And he's not listening. He probably is listening somewhere right now.
Yeah, I'm sure we're on his TV right now. Mrs. Frank is probably going, "You're really going to let him give you that?"
I don't know.
You're not the man I married.
I think she's probably okay with it, just knowing
She
enough
probably thinks
about
it's
her.
good for him. Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know her. Never met her. Kind of hoping someday I get to.
Yeah.
But I am kind of thinking that she'd be okay with this type of conversation regarding Mrs. Allison, Mr. Allison.
Mr. Allison, yes.
And I'm sure when he joins us for 3D, he's going to have things to say to us. If he hasn't died on the floor.
This is the Star Wars game. What? A game about Star Wars. Frank, we can't.
All we have to tell him is Parker doesn't care. That'll perk him right up.
Wow. I care. It's just.
I just don't.
Wow. I care. I'm just not going to be involved with it in any way. It's, whatevs.
Much love, Frank. Feel better. I say as
Wow.
I read my Twitter mention.
Said by the guy who's like, if he drops dead, I get the job. Yikes. Is that, was the awards a black tie deal, Jamie, or are people going in T-shirts and shorts?
It is. There's a lot of women who dress like they're going to prom at 50 years old, which I think is interesting.
Because they're winning awards.
It was a little mixed this year, and the WBAs even told you it could be either formal or if you wanted to do a little bit more casual. I mean, it's an industry where a lot of people have to get dressed every single day, like in suits and ties, and so I was personally okay with that because I wasn't supposed to go, so I had zero things to wear, so I was actually okay with like the little bit less formal this year.
Did you go hoodie and jeans? What'd you wear?
No, I was able to pull together a blazer and a cashmere sweater and some wide leg pants and things, but I wasn't nearly as dressy as I was last year. So
business casual.
It was more business for me because that's what I had on hand, and I didn't have to scurry to find things.
Business casual is a good baseline.
And then some patent leather loafers and things like that. So I was able to pull it together.
It's confusing messaging where it's like, it's a formal event, but you don't have to.
And then you saw, like, there was one guy there, like, a pair of khakis with, like, just like a long sleeve polo with some, I mean, it was a gamut of people this year dressed in multiple things.
Anytime I'm given the opportunity to dress up, I will dress up.
Usually when I have more
notice, like a dress to the nines kind of guy.
Yeah.
Usually
when it's time, I bring
when
it.
I have more notice than 2.5 hours.
That's true.
I'm usually more prepared.
Well, that's the nice thing about being a guy. You've got my tuxedo is cleaned. It's in the closet. I have to press the shirt, but I'm ready to go at the moment's notice. I could go to a black tie affair at noon. Yeah, and I'd be ready.
And I hate dresses. I absolutely hate them. I've never been girly enough for a dress. So I tend to do it. And I'll do them, but I'm really out of my comfort zone. I'm very specific if I have to do dresses. I would much rather do not the Hillary Clinton pantsuit. I like to do separates, but
we got 10 seconds till we're back.
The pantsuit.
Want to join in on the conversation? Call or text 855-75-CIVIC. Now back to Brian and Jamie.
It's 8:35 right now. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you are listening in Wausau on WXCO or in La Crosse on WLCX or even Wisconsin Rapids this morning on WFHR, we're glad that you decided to join us on the Civic Media Network. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. Before we get out of here today, we've been remiss in mentioning that today is May 4th, which for Star Wars freaks is like a national holiday. And so Frank, while not a freak, Frank is a Star Wars fan and has come up with a game, May the 4th be with you, which we are going to do after this. So if you want to stick around for some Star Wars trivia.
My husband's a Star Wars freak. He was looking over my shoulder yesterday as I was working, and he was like, "You're going to play a Star Wars game? How do I get in on this?" I'm like,
That's a good question.
I was like, I don't think you're part of this. I think you just need to calm down and let us do our thing. So
wow, another suit trying to put his greasy mitts all over the show. Back off, Suits.
He was just so excited to see Star Wars. He couldn't help himself.
Listen, why not? It's a cultural phenomenon. And why not spread? You know what else a cultural phenomenon, Jamie? One of your favorite things, gerrymandering. We know that last week the Supreme Court struck a blow to the Voters' Rights Act by allowing Louisiana to redraw their maps because, God forbid, in a state that has over 30% black population, they had the audacity to have 2 districts where they could get 2 African-American representatives in Congress. Well, Louisiana didn't like that, so they're getting rid of one. So much so that the governor of Louisiana decided they were going to stop the primary election, which had already started. People were already sending in their ballots for the May 16th election. And he said, nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to postpone it so that we can redraw these maps because we want to win fair and square. Wait, no, that's not how that works. They redraw the maps so they can cheat, allegedly. But it's not racial. Remember, it's not racial. It's a party.
Yeah.
Party.
And I think what we're starting to see, not only in Louisiana, but what we're starting to see now in Alabama and Tennessee, who have also announced special legislative sessions this week to draw new congressional maps, becoming just the latest to act following the Supreme Court's decision, is exactly what we feared. And it's exactly what we thought was going to happen going forward, which is why we don't want to keep talking about this, but it's really important, especially with the midterms coming up, because here's the thing, Brian. Some states still have time to redraw their congressional maps before the midterms. The window's tight, and it varies by each state. Redistricting is normally done every 10 years because of the census, right?
Sure.
But there's no federal rule stopping a mid-decade change. So
we've seen it here in Wisconsin. It's not unheard of.
Right. Timing, though, is going to be a major challenge for some of these states. Campaigns are already underway. Ballots and early voting timelines are being set, unless you're Louisiana and you just decide to stop everything.
Just decide to stop.
That's
because May 19th is Alabama's primary.
Yep.
August is Tennessee's. So, yes, they're coming up quick.
And any of these late changes could create confusion and legal fights. Now, some states may still move quickly. Others have decided that they're going to wait until after 2026. We heard that from Georgia this weekend, in fact. Brian Kemp said that the state of Georgia would wait until after the midterms, but have most likely new maps for the 2028 presidential election.
Well, Florida waited, but it was an hour.
Was it an hour? I wasn't even sure it was an hour.
I don't even think it was an hour. They were ready.
They were locked.
DeSantis had his pen just poised above the paper.
Yeah, they were locked and loaded.
Yeah.
Now, some states, some state laws will determine what's possible. Legislator controlled states can act faster, and this was something we talked about last week after the Supreme Court made their ruling on the Voting Rights Act. If you have a gubernatorial if you have a Republican governor, you have a Republican House, you have a Republican Senate, and you have a Republican state Supreme Court, you are going to be able to act most likely very, very quick. Now, some states have independent commissions that are going to face more limits, but some of those states are already saying we're going to dismantle and have already taken the steps, red and blue states, to dismantle their commissions so that they can move even quicker. And we'll talk about some of the blue states too. Now, some state constitutions restrict mid-decade redistricting unless the courts step in. State courts are a major force and can actually order map changes. Political control is going to matter in this because a unified government, obviously, as we just mentioned, is going to speed up the redraw. A divided government is going to get stalled probably a little bit more.
Sure.
Now, when we've talked about the red states, right, who have made these decisions, when it comes to the blue states, just in case anybody's wondering, like, how are the Democrats going to combat this? And let's be clear, gerrymandering, this is why gerrymandering is bad. This is exactly why it's bad.
We talked to a guest last week when the Supreme Court decision came down, and there has been a federal law sitting in Congress for a number of years that would outlaw this type of thing altogether. It would make gerrymandering illegal. Yep. To no one's surprise, we learned that Democrats have supported this bill. Republicans have not. Going back to the premise that Republicans believe that if they cannot win fairly, they are not above rigging the system for an administration that talks about rigging things all the time. Man, oh man, the Republicans love to rig their elections via gerrymandering. And so that is, if you're saying, why can't any of this stop? Well, it could. They've been trying. It's there in Congress. Just nobody's going to vote for it.
Same concept of what Governor Evers is trying to do here in the state of Wisconsin, and
100%.
With that special legislative session that the Republicans didn't really even participate in because they really didn't. They were there for 2 days. They did typically what they normally do. They gavelled themselves in. The Democrats stayed around hoping maybe the Republicans would come to the floor to at least engage in some discussion. They did not, and the legislative session ended with nothing. And so here we are, looking at maps in the state of Wisconsin that also need to be redrawn at the end of this year.
But you started talking about the blue states.
Yes, and Colorado has already started moving, as we mentioned, those independent districting commissions. They're trying to already dismantle theirs. Now, unfortunately, theirs will not be done until 2028 elections. Top Democrats, including Hakeem Jeffries, sees redistricting as a key strategy to counter some of these Republican gains. So he's already identified states like New York, Illinois, and Maryland as major targets for redrawn maps, again, though, before 2028. This is the key. The Democrats are looking at the maps as of the presidential election, while the red states are targeting the midterms as quickly as they possibly can.
Because they see the writing on the wall. This
Yes.
is if things turn drastically as they're kind of predicted to, and as some of the early results have shown that they might, they know that this is the end of their movement. This is because if Democrats take control of the House and Senate, it's basically over for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
They will not
Yes.
rubber stamp all his things. They will not turn their back and let him do whatever he wants. So
This
a
is
reckoning
why
is coming.
I am hopeful for the midterms. This is why I also keep saying there's a long time before now and November, because there's a
Right.
lot of things that could potentially change before that midterm election, even though, again, I am hopeful. Now, other Democrats in other states are also looking and weighing possible redistricting changes, including in New Jersey, Washington, and Oregon. New Hampshire is also going to be interesting because Republicans could theoretically redraw the maps there to gain an advantage, despite pressure from the national Republicans, including allies of President Trump. That move, though, in New Hampshire looks unlikely as of right now, and again, we'll qualify that as of right now. We have no idea what this is going to look like in a few more months or even
a few
past
more
the
hours.
midterms. Right. And I think the thing to remember is that Republicans hold such a slim majority right now in the House that any small shift in these maps where they have an advantage or they think they're going to have an advantage.
That's the key.
Yes. It's going to change things. It could potentially change things from what we're currently seeing for the midterms and the writing on the wall. Any of those small shifts could potentially change things going into November.
Well, and it also goes to something that I said earlier about anger being a great motivator in the midterms.
Yes.
I think, and you brought it up, that it could backfire on them because there are enough people who are diehard who are going to vote party no matter what.
Their base is also shrinking.
Right, but it's those independents. And if the independents get a whiff, and now, yes, you could say, won't that work against the Democrats too? It may, but in a lesser sense, because the Democrats' reaction is being seen as just that, a reaction to what the Republicans have started. So if these independents are looking at this and going, there's just something, if I may speak in the parlance of the kids, there's something sus about what the Republicans are doing. Did I use that correctly, Parker?
Well done. Yeah.
Thank you.
Done.
Yeah. So the people are going to go, you're cheating. We see what you're doing. So we're not going to reward your cheating. And especially if you're an African American voter in Louisiana or anywhere else, or a person of color or any person of color who sees this happening in your state or your area, you should be mad. You should go out and vote against this. You should vote against the people who are trying to limit your voice and show them, hey, you can draw whatever lines you want. I'm still voting.
Yeah.
And people that I know are voting. And independents are going to vote. And they're going to look at what you're doing and call it for what it is, cheating.
And that's I'm so glad you brought that up, because the question that so many people, and I've been seeing posed in different articles and different writing and by different scholars and just general people is, what do we do? And it's not a simple solution, but there are a few pathways, right? There's court challenges, which I get it.
That's going to
It
be
takes forever. State courts, especially right now, are a major check and balance on this GOP. State level laws and reforms, things like the independent redistricting commissions, but you just hit on it. Ultimately, it's our engagement, because even in heavily drawn districts, turnout is still going to be the key. And even if you're thinking about, even if you forget about just voting, which I want you to get out and vote, no matter what you need to do. But think about the campaigns in your area. Volunteer for one of those campaigns. Knock on the doors. Make the calls. Send out some text messages. Do the real boots on the ground work, because those types of grassroots campaigns, especially if you're worried about Wisconsin, right? Especially if you're worried about what's happening here in Wisconsin, those grassroots campaigns and those grassroots movements still move mountains. We have seen it time and time again. And the candidates right now in really red districts all across the country that are flipping seats, that is how they are doing it, by talking about the economy and by engaging in this grassroots effort of doing the hard work and going out and talking to people face to face.
Yeah, it's going to be a dogfight, and the Republicans are doing everything they can to get an edge, and I'm going to unethically. So, and that's my word. That's not a fact. That's just my opinion. If you got an issue with it, at me. You can always find out where to send me a message. I'm not a scourge, but that's what I think they're doing. So we do need to vote. You got to get out there and tell your friends. No sitting out. No. Well, my district got redrawn, so my vote's not going to count. That's not true.
No.
The more they still got to count the vote, and they're really going to be counting them because they think they're going to win. And when they don't win those rejiggered districts, man, that'll be a shocker. When we come back, it's May the 4th. We're going to play a little Star Wars game on the Civic Media Network.
Brian
Parker,
do you have a cable that's loose or something? We've had a couple of times that we've heard a little static from you.
A little static from me. I don't.
It's a very brief thing. I don't really know.
How you doing, Frank?
I'm hanging in there.
Everything is in tight.
All for this segment.
Okay.
Okay.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
You
going
sound
into
a
this
little
bad
better,
boy.
Frank.
Did you take some
Did you get
sinus
drugged
medicine?
up?
I have not taken anything.
Oh,
Boy.
you should.
Yes, Mom. I know. I know.
As a mother and somebody who suffers from these types of ailments a lot.
Yes, I'll be going
It sounds
to the
like
store.
last night Debbie was like, I have such a headache. And I said, I was going to ask you if you took aspirin, but I know you don't like me to tell you that. But a lot of people take aspirin when they have a headache.
In case you weren't familiar with it.
Yeah, in case you just in case. I don't know.
Mr. Plow King says that this is all his fault because he sneezed on you at the Cubs game on Saturday.
Mr. Plow King is the next person I'm going to be texting if I need somebody to come with me.
Mr. Plow King sounds like it might be a party. I'll be honest.
Just
based on his text, I think
we're
Mr.
gonna end
Plow
up.
King could be the man.
I'm going to end up in the
Besties.
batting cages of sluggers.
May have found a bestie here with Mr. Plow King.
Yes, Parker, you do need to come down this summer because there is a bar with a batting cage on the top floor.
Frank, you took the question right out of my mouth.
Huh?
Kind of sus.
Kind of sus. Got to throw that in there,
That was good. Very good.
Thank you, Parker.
Mr. Plow King also says the entire GOP is sus.
Well, yeah.
Mr. Plow King has bleacher season tickets.
Really?
Oh.
Did I ever tell you were my favorite listener and viewer?
Wow. MP.
Not above kissing ass to get what I need.
See, Frank, then you would have had somebody to go with.
You need.
I bet
know.
Mr. Plow King saw Jason Sudeikis. Did you
And
see
Coach
Ted
Beard.
Lasso?
They were both there. I can't believe it. Actually, I can. That would be my luck.
You're a crabby sick person.
I'm such a crab.
That's because Coach is doing a one-man show in Chicago.
Yeah, and he's charging like $115 a ticket.
It's theater, Frank. It's very expensive to be a patron
Cheaper
of the
than
arts.
Post
Yes,
Malone
of
for the
course.
grass.
This is
That's
true.
That's why I thank God every day that I'm on Broadway in Chicago's press list, because I could not afford to see all the shows I've seen.
That is a flex.
That is a flex.
Very nice.
It is quite the flex.
We have
And I am
got
grateful every time I walk into the theater.
10 seconds till we're back.
You got it.
Now back to more of Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's 8:52 right now. Thank you so much for joining us. It's May 4th, and we're going to celebrate Star Wars. Our senior producer, Frank, joining us once again. You have a Star Wars game for us. I'm glad to see that you're still surviving and with the illness, so that's good first and foremost.
Maybe it's because the Force is with him.
It might be.
This segment is what's keeping me going, Jamie.
Okay.
Wow.
Just because, put some time and effort into this, so we got to do it, right? And I don't want to upset Parker and let him down.
I'm very excited for this. I'm
right.
a Star Wars guy, too. I'm very hyped.
Do we know what this is?
You guys
I
don't,
don't.
but I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
have no idea.
All right.
I know it says Star Wars game.
All right, so anybody who's listened, who's been a longtime listener of the network, maybe in previous shows, we did a game on Halloween called Disney Villain or Politician. So today we are doing Star Wars character or politician.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I like this. I'm
So
excited.
there are two.
Did you see how excited I got?
Yes, I know. There are 2 available points for each question.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
You either guess politician or Star Wars character, and then you get a bonus point if you can name who the quote is attributed to.
Yikes. Okay. Now it's getting complicated and hard.
So is this where are you giving us each, are you saying this is Jamie's question, and then if she gets it wrong?
Your name, you have to buzz in.
Oh.
Your name is your buzzer, and make sure you speak into the microphone, Parker.
Oh, Parker's playing too.
Parker's playing too?
All right.
Am I
No, Parker would win.
No,
I'll
let
let
Parker
you
play. Let
Parker, do you want to play?
Parker should play.
I think I would win this.
That's okay.
Well, then let's see.
Okay,
Smarty.
You should win.
Let's try it out.
Okay.
That will be a
Brian.
correct answer.
Brian.
That will
I'm
be
sorry. I was
wrong
gonna go,
answer.
I know that's R2D2.
All right, let's go. Question number 1. First quote, I love democracy. I love
Parker.
the Republic. Parker.
Sheev Palpatine.
I
didn't say the
need,
first
is this a character
Oh, it's a
or is
character.
this
It's
a
character.
politician?
Sorry. Character.
And he did say the other
And
guy.
so
That
3
is,
points.
that is,
I love democracy.
Yeah.
I love the Republic.
Parker didn't say Emperor Palpatine. He used the actual first name
He did.
of
Bob?
the Sith Lord.
Bob
So
Palpatine?
if this is why I was hesitant to let Parker play,
No, Parker
because I don't think
should be
anybody
playing.
else is going to get.
No, Parker
Any
should
of
be
them.
playing.
You guys are going to smoke me with the politician ones. So
Maybe. Maybe.
We'll see.
he's
See, what's
feeling
funny
bad,
is-
regretting
oh, go
these
ahead. All right,
decisions.
let's
Question
go.
number 2.
Yeah.
Never waste a crisis.
Brian,
Brian?
politician.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
Is the actual quote. So, Brian, that is correct. Can you guess who said it?
Ted Cruz.
It is not. That was Rahm Emanuel.
Oh,
Wow.
As a Chicago guy, that kind of hurts,
it
doesn't
does hurt, but I didn't clearly hear. It's not your fault. I just, I didn't hear.
It's okay. We're playing.
I was so worried about getting the 1 point.
Well, you got to beat Parker, so that's the
That's not
the
gonna
real
happen,
thing.
but I at least wanted to get on the board.
We are playing Star Wars character or politician. Parker has 2 points. Brian has 1. Jamie, who's very competitive, has yet to get on the board. So let's move on to question number 3. So this is how Liberty dies.
Parker.
Parker.
Character. It is. Oh, Padme. There we go.
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
That's
Wow.
another 2 points for Parker.
I'm
Wow.
very impressed right now, Parker.
Parker,
Oh,
very nice.
I have way too much Star Wars.
No,
I don't
very
even care
good.
if I lose like in a flaming glory. You're impressive
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah,
I'm impressive right now. Frank,
He
did you
deserves
hear
to
that?
win. Right
You
now,
are
Parker. Don't
I
get
think
crazy.
you are impressive.
You're very impressive.
Unpressive?
Impressive.
I said impressive.
I know. I just.
He's impressive. He's winning right now, 4 points. Brian has 1. Jamie has 0. Let's move on to the next one. I will rule with law and order.
Brian.
Brian?
politician.
It is a politician.
Do I get to hear the thing or no?
No, I'm going to let you guess.
Oh. I'm going to say Donald J. Trump.
There can be no prosperity without
Nicely
law
done.
and order.
Is the exact quote. That is 2 points for Brian.
Very nice.
And yes, there was Star Wars music behind that, which made it even better.
It just, it fit.
You could have gone either way then on that one. All right. Now I'm not. Now I can lose because I had a showing.
Parker, how much time do we have? We have time for one more?
Yep, we got time for one more.
We got time for one more.
Here we go.
If you are not with me, then you are my enemy.
Parker.
Parker.
Anakin Skywalker.
So you're going Star Wars.
Character. I'm sorry.
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
That is correct. Wow. Parker wins.
Very
6-3 to 0. Jamie, what the hell happened there?
Yeah, that was wow. Wow. I'm not going to say anything because then the next time we have a game, Jamie's going to come out voracious and just try to destroy all of us for some past slight. Like if we gloat too much today.
What I think is sad is that it's really hard to tell the difference between a Star Wars villain and actual current villains across the country.
Well, it's true. This is how democracy dies, with thunderous applause. So, we will see.
Yeah.
But Frank, nice game, especially being ill. That was a lot of fun. I like that game.
Thank you.
That was
Appreciate
really cool. It was very niche. Congratulations,
As I suspected,
Parker.
Parker would win.
Very nice.
Thank you very much.
Parker wins. Congrats. Take your victories where you can, young Skywalker.
Oh, I'm counting it. I'm going to hang on to this for a while.
Do or not. There is no
He's going to
try.
hold it against us for a long time now, isn't he?
That's all right.
Yes.
Listen, we got to go. It's time.
We do.
May the force be with you. We will talk to you again tomorrow here on the Civic Media Network. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson. It's 8:59. Thank you for another great day on the Civic Media Network.
Bye.
All right, live stream. That was today's show.
That was. For better or worse. That's what you get.
Was for better or worse. That's